Blood Lemons. Lemonade Podcast, Episode 1. Go. There you go. Someone else should take over now. That was me.
Okay, I guess that was our intro.
Yep. That's 2 years of hype right there.
Nobody would suspect we've been doing this since 2015.
They wouldn't, but to be fair, I'm expecting you to work some editing magic there, fireworks and the like. Get it going,
Okay. Sure.
I'm expecting you to show us 2 years worth of editing progress.
Well, it's more like 2 years worth of not editing after making a significant amount of progress.
Yeah, exactly.
We have not been doing this consistently since 2015. Otherwise, we would be a lot better at this by now.
You'd hope so anyway, wouldn't you, really? I mean, it's kind of like we're starting a YouTube channel for the first time in 2020. Who would do that? So.
Madmen.
Oh,
Madmen
what's
indeed.
that? Is that a fourth member? Yes, it is.
Can it be true?
Hello. Think it can be, sir. Tell us your name and where do you come from?
My name is Ben. I come from a
Ben.
small fishing village.
Can we also have your social security number? And your card details, please.
Would you like my pin?
I'm ready.
No, hello. I'm Ben. Nice to be here with you all.
To have you.
That's right, it's Blunt Lemons 2020. We're new, improved, and we've got an extra member. Oh, yeah.
We're back up to 4 members, ladies and gentlemen. For anyone who actually remembers us having 4 members in the past, this is not the same one. That one was Lewis, this is Ben.
Yeah, he's very different.
Do we class Lewis? Wasn't he
back
like
at the
one
beginning.
episode of Move and Die?
He made like a good 6 episodes of the original podcast before it was called Lemonade.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was in the original podcast a lot.
I do apologise, Lewis.
I don't know if those videos are still on the channel or if we deleted them.
Like hell yeah.
Well, I got right.
No, I don't mean public. I mean, are they actually still on the channel privated or were they deleted? I can't.
Oh
remember.
no, they'll still be there, just like the old Far Cry Let's Plays with Steve-O are. But
Oh god,
He's the OG, baby.
they're buried deep down in the
Annals of
depths.
time.
But anyway,
Yes.
we're several minutes into this podcast and we've not actually discussed what we're actually doing this week.
Oh, the title says it.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, they will have clicked on it through the title.
I don't know if you forgot how YouTube works.
well, you see, I'm 100% illiterate, so
I forgot.
Well, for anyone who's
Help me.
blind and has somehow clicked onto this week we are, hopefully rebooting the channel properly again, and also this week we are specifically discussing our top 10 video games of all time, because the last time we did this was back in 2016, and we've played a few more games since then, just a few.
Probably about 3.
And I didn't exist, so
Yes, he's actually 4 years old. I'm surprised he's so well spoken.
he was but a twinkle in his mother's eye.
they used the old hyper accelerated growth. Just accelerated growth. I don't know why I had to put hyper in there.
They grew it specifically for the purpose of being on this podcast, so I hope you're all grateful out there.
They cloned me from Lewis. It went a bit wrong. So
I didn't think it could get any worse, but it did.
You gave him more hair.
yes, maybe look like
Also-
Elvis.
Also more Elvis-like hair.
Just with
One of you also said Justin Bieber, so...
It's a fine line.
Elvis, Justin Bieber, they're the same person, really.
I'd much rather be known as one than any of the other.
King of Rock or Justin Bieber.
I mean, would you rather be the guy who died of a heart attack on his toilet or the one who's currently still alive? That would be the way I've looked at it.
I don't know.
That's true.
I think
Yeah, one's still alive, but also one's kind of a cunt.
How dare you?
Also, Justin Bieber's, I don't know.
It's a bit
Looks a
brody.
bit weird nowadays. I don't know.
Is he still a thing? Is he still popular?
Yeah,
Is he
he's
still doing
very
music?
popular.
For a second there, I thought you were going, is he still alive? Is he alive?
No, not that.
Is he alive?
Justin Bieber's a bro. An absolute bro. Speaking of bros, we have a podcast of bros that are going to discuss their top 10 bros. Shall we get into it?
Yes, we should actually get.
I'm
into the
definitely not
topic.
discussing my top 10 bros, because that'll go just as well as the fucking... Oh, what was the topic one of you suggested before that we did, and it fell flat on its face? Like, top 10 Hollywood crushes or something.
It was celebrity crushes, and you guys...
That was it.
Poured cold water on that idea straight away.
It's not our fault we don't follow celebrities.
Well, no, it's your fault you didn't tell me not to do the topic before we started recording, and then we hit the record button, and it all went horribly wrong from there. But anyway,
But we kept
number
it.
10 on my list. Let's go.
Oh, dear Lord.
Did we?
wait. So So, fuck me.
What was your...
We
There was
should
a question.
say, well, we should say first of all how we actually are going to do this, because it's not a normal thing people do.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Discuss the format. Yeah.
So I'm not even sure myself, but we're going to go through. There's obviously all of our top 10s, and then Chris has come up with some sort of insane formula. Think Interstellar, and he's combined all of these together for one grandiose Blunt Lemons list.
Yeah, it took me weeks. I had to take into account quantum physics. A bit of nuclear chemistry was thrown in there as well. I had to consult Ben on that one. I got a bit of C++ programming. It's a whole thing.
You know, I believed you like an hour ago, and then I figured it out. And
Podcast audience might still believe me.
it's just a point system. Points 1 to 10.
A complicated point system.
A what?
What?
Anyway, yes, lowest is 1 point, highest is 10, and then we have the final list, of which, if there are any ties, which hint there are, we shall try and debate for their place in the top 10 list.
Won't you join us on live stream to debate?
No, because this isn't live. So, without further ado, Krishna.
If you have a problem with any of our lists, turn up to one of the Blunt Lemons live streams and shout at Dion about it. Only him,
please.
no one else.
I'll accept that as long as you follow.
As long as you subscribe, hit top right, give us that Twitch Prime.
I mean, yeah, subscribing would be lovely as well. I would certainly like some income. I'm currently jobless.
Oh.
So, if any of you disagree with any of this, just go to Dion and beat him up.
Nah,
Or, just leave a YouTube comment.
Or beat him up. Just do it.
I like the beating up option, to be honest.
This will be if I have like 2 white people on the podcast, Chris.
Number 10! Right, number 10 on my list. I guess I'll start off, since on our spreadsheet here I'm furthest left. Obviously making a top 10 list, a pretty difficult endeavour. So my 10th game could probably substitute for anywhere below 5, I guess. They're almost interchangeable, but I put Red Dead Redemption at the bottom of my list, getting my 1 point, and that's because it's a bloody good game, if you didn't know that.
And I believe you three have fond memories of that game's online as well.
It's tremendous
we do.
online.
Or
it was.
Good memories. No, the original Red Dead Online was... I can't even remember there was stuff that much to do. I just remember we made a lot of our own fun. But it was a lot of fun.
We used to go onto that long bridge and do jousting on it with our throwing knives. And we also used to do fisticuffs on the bridge. That bridge got a lot of use.
There was a lot of bridge stuff in Red Dead Redemption Online.
The bridge between, I think it was Tall Trees and Henniganstead. It's a good bridge.
God.
You have a knowledge of that map that I do not have, but I remember the bridge.
I know that map of that game, off by heart. Because it's honestly, I think it's one of the best video game, worlds ever. It's just great.
Well, America.
America, yeah. Armadillo, Tumbleweed, McFarlane's Ranch, Blackwater.
That's part of the reason I love the game, is that almost every location feels like a character, if that makes sense. I know the feel of every... Thieves Landing does not feel like Armadillo, does not feel like Blackwater. And to go along with that, there's the characters themselves, all in my mind, tied to location. And, yeah.
It's fair. Very good game. Multiplayer and single player wise.
I unfortunately am not aware of any of this because I never got to play the game.
You haven't actually played Red Dead?
Nope.
Never?
Never.
Oh, mate.
I briefly owned it for a time, and I did play the first few hours of it, and then I let a friend borrow it, and I never got it back.
That's amazing.
We should publicly shame that friend.
I remember who it is as well, but I will not say their name.
We sick our loyal fan base on them.
Can I just ask, right? Because this is on my list too. Are we going to talk about it when it gets to me on my list, or are we just going to talk about it now?
No, when games are repeated, or basically, if we've already talked about them, mainly just either briefly touch on why we like it, but mainly just justifying its rank on your list.
Right.
Really, that'll be about it.
Say all you've got to say now, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, or we can leave Red Dead Redemption for now because I'm assuming yours is much higher on the list, and you'll have
I mean,
more to say about
spoilers.
it, I guess.
Spoilers. It's 7. But
I say just say all you've got to say, and then you can just kind of.
Well,
Each time.
okay. Well, I think the story is like the best story that Rockstar have ever done. I think John Marston is one of the best characters in like any video game ever. He's just so.
Reasonable.
He's so likable, even though, like, he says he's a bad man, but he's not a bad man, really. He's a nice man with a
Kind of a bad man.
family.
He's kind of a bad man.
He's kind of a terrible man. He murders a lot of people,
He does.
but he's just doing it to protect his family, and that's lovely.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
True story of redemption.
Also, he just looks amazing. So,
Can
there
we
you go.
spoil that game at this point, or
It's old enough. Yes, you can spoil the bloody game. If you talk about Red Dead 2, though, people will probably still kill you.
that's fair? Okay. So at the end of Red Dead, sort of. It's actually quite poignant because there is a point where the game drops off a bit for me, and it's the point where old Johnny Boy steps out the barn
Yeah.
and gets lit up like a motherfucker. Basically dies. Well, definitely
Yeah.
dies. 100% dies. Riddled, some might say. And then you play as his son, Jack.
It's horrible.
He's all right. He's essentially just a player model, really. There's nothing really there. You don't feel nearly as much attachment as you did with John. Mainly because you played John for what? However long that game is up until that point.
And
Is there a time skip?
Even when he's a child, Jack Marston's kind of annoying, and then he becomes a bit more annoying when he's an adult.
Yeah.
I was about to say, is there a time skip? Are you supposed to at least kind
Yeah.
of feel bad for Jack that his dad was just killed? Or
I feel terrible for Jack because like he's gonna become like a lawyer or an academic or something, and then he ends up just becoming what his dad is, and it's just really sad. So
It's the vicious cycle.
and yeah, he just keeps doing what his dad was doing, but like in a world that's like the Wild West is like dying. So
If you take into account Red Dead 2 as well, that becomes even more poignant, really.
But let's not spoil that game because that's still fresh enough that
No,
people
no,
on the
but,
internet will
you know.
definitely murder us for it.
Yeah, we wouldn't spoil it, but obviously it continues the whole cycle of the gang and whatnot. But the story...
On the note of Red Dead Redemption being some of the best storytelling Rockstar's ever done, like the way that the story like ties in with like the death of the West and the like march of like progression and whatnot, I think and how that like specifically ties in with what John Marston has to do as a character. I like that as video game stories go, and I'm sure on our list we're going to get some video game stories we all truly adore. But like this is like some of the best the industry has to offer.
yeah.
Just to cap off why it's number 10 on my list, there are parts of the game that are a lull. Like when you like the game is like really like it's got like an intense goodness at the beginning, and while Mexico is still good, it's like not as good as the like end or beginning of the game.
I do agree. Like Mexico, I was like, oh god, I don't want to be here. I don't like any of these people, apart from Landon Ricketts.
Mexico just felt like a side like it felt like a side thing, even though it took up like a good chunk of the game, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that would be why I'd rank it like lower than the other games on my list.
And I don't know. I don't like hunting down Javier as much as I like hunting down Bill, because I like Bill, and I want to shoot him more than Javier.
Yeah, the villains in America are just like better than the villain in Mexico.
Yeah.
Although Bill is in Mexico as well, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, it probably doesn't class as that same section of the game, doesn't it?
No.
Not that I can remember anything about the story, but they are.
I'm sure we'll get to talk more about Red Dead Redemption in a wee bit. Shall we move on to next number 10?
Would that be me?
Yes.
What? Oh, is it? Okay.
We're doing left to right from the Excel sheet, aren't we?
If we're going left to right on there, yes.
Okay.
Okay. My number 10 is... Well, you three have already seen it, but the audience won't have Halo Reach, a game that we all here know and love.
Gasp! A Halo
For
game
a time
in the top
gone
10.
by.
Shocking.
But yes, my first proper Halo game, and I am going to give a a shout out to an honourable mention, which was Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original one, because that was almost very nearly my number 10 as well. But I have more fond memories of Halo Reach, so that's why it's made it onto the list as opposed to Battlefront 2, which way back when I mainly played on my own. But yes, Halo. What can we say about it, gentlemen? We all love the franchise.
Spacemen are cool, man.
I'll start off with my thoughts on Halo Reach. It's specific. When I think of what Halo Reach does better than other Halo games, and the reason I pick Halo Reach, because spoilers, Halo Reach is on my list later. Why I put Halo Reach on my list above other Halo games is more nostalgia reasons than I think it's better than other Halo games, but specifically on what Reach does better than other Halo games, and that's Forge. Forge World has yet to be rivaled in a Halo game. While the tools in Forge have got better in other Halo games, I feel like Forge was at its best in Halo Reach.
I would agree with this.
Why though? I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But it's a question I've always had. And it kind of pertains to that and Firefight in Reach to ODST. It was a lot better in ODST.
It was a lot better in ODST.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I don't know why, because in theory, Forge should be a lot better in the newer games.
Well, technically it is. I think it's limitation breeds creativity, if that makes sense. Like, the tools are just limited enough in Halo Reach that, like, everything feels more creative and it feels more fun to create from someone who's not, like, super into making Forge maps himself. And that was the same for ODST's Firefight, where it's like the lack of options is kind of what made it.
Yeah, I would agree with this because I'm going with an example here. Remember when I made the custom zombie maze, where like the zombies were invisible, it was dark, and it was actually quite a decent game mode in Halo Reach. I tried recreating that in Halo. I think it was 4 with the Forge they had, which technically does have better tools because they introduced like the snap lock, rotating things at 90 degrees and magnetizing them together so things fit together better and stuff. But it never quite turned out the same. And I can't really answer your question as to why Reach is better than the other games. I would have to replay the other games to figure it out because I cannot remember off the top of my head. I just remember things working out better in Reach. And like Chris said, I think it bred more creativity.
Yeah, I think it's two parts really, isn't it? And in Reach there's a lot more people around for us, especially. We had like a large group of friends who would play Halo Reach.
Yeah, Reach struck at like 14 when it came out. It struck at the exact right moment of like Xbox Live height.
Yeah, we had like 10 people playing Forge Wars and stuff. So it was great. But I definitely agree on the whole limited options gives you more creativity. That's the same for 3 as well. I think some of the most enjoyable game modes are on Halo 3 Forge. Like the train, and that weird one in the sandbox map, Sandtrap.
As far as Reach goes, I think the tools are just advanced enough to like have like a lot more options than Halo 3, but not as advanced as it get. Like Halo 5, right? I love Halo 5. It would have been honorable mention, but its Forge is like it's almost like creating in a game engine. It's like very precise and it has like lots of options. It's too much for me. I can't, I'm sure it's great for the Forge community, but I can't get into Forge like I did in Reach as a result. And everything I feel like I create in Halo 5 I feel is shit. Whereas in Halo Reach, I was like, I can build shit here, man.
I've never played Forge on Halo 5, but I should, so I can build another one of those giant towers that I love so much.
Towers.
Do they still have the kill ball?
I imagine so.
Oh, good.
It'll be there. But yeah, briefly touching back on why it's on number 10 of my list as well. Love the game, but basically just everything else on this list, which I'll be explaining as we go. I just feel that I'm much more attached to everything else on this list because I'm not much of a shooter person. And Halo Reach is one of those exceptions, which is one of the reasons it's on the list. Because
can I say that's exactly the same with me? Like Halo is the only real first-person shooter I've ever been into. Like I've never.
Like
really
I used to be
played
back into Call of Duty, but apart from that,
yeah. And
but also why it's Reach and none of the other Halo games because I joined the Halo community just as this game came out. Halo 3 was literally forced upon me, so I played it and I was like, you know what, this is all right. I enjoyed it. So then I got Reach. Like we all said, it was our prime time of when Xbox Live was at its height and there were lots of us playing. And then the games, I just never even bothered getting some of the later ones / some would argue went downhill. I wouldn't say they went downhill, but Reach was my favourite out of all of them. I enjoyed the campaign the most. I'm talking about from Reach onwards, not including the older games.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the campaign the most. It's when we had played the most multiplayer. In my opinion, it has the best multiplayer, the best progression system out of all of them. Apart from the first 3 games, because I don't know about those ones, didn't play those ones.
I'd agree on the progression system. On the multiplayer front, Reach has its problems. It's still amazing, but it has its problems.
The Forge maps by the end of Reach, they were abysmal.
I think
that I remember.
I think the story is actually really great in Reach as well. Like that whole team, Noble team, like really cool. Even though
lore-wise, I'm aware there's a problem, because Chris pointed out multiple times, but knowing nothing of the Halo lore, it is a good story, I think.
It's a good story, it's problematic when you take it into account of all the other... The way the battle... Fuck it, this is not the podcast to do it in. Let's just suffice it to say, it doesn't quite gel with what was established about the Battle of Reach before the game came out.
I understand.
And I feel like it creates problems.
Yeah,
in some
okay.
ways. Well, it's still good. And I guess it's probably the canon version, but it makes the Battle of Reach a weird, fuzzy mess.
Okay, well, you'll have to explain it to me sometime in another time.
You will.
But yes, those are my main points on Halo Reach. There's not much more to say. So yeah, I think we're good to move on to the next one.
Brilliant game. We should say as well. You could probably preface this at the beginning or whatever, but we're only allowed 1 game from each franchise. I don't know if we mentioned that.
So in our personal lists, yes, so we're only allowed 1 game from each franchise.
Yeah, so on like my list, for example, we won't have 5 different Halo games because that would get ridiculous, but it probably might happen. So we're only allowed 1 game from each franchise. That's the rules on my list. The combined list at the end of the Blunt Lemons top 10, that will have just probably different franchises on it based on the numbering system, the formulas and whatnot. But yeah, so that is probably important to say. So yeah,
right.
my top 10. Bear in mind this is still top 10. Don't kill me for it. I will explain why it's here. But The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is my 10th.
At number 10?
Yes, at number 10.
Fucking hell.
There are reasons for this. So now I'm a big fan of The Witcher as a franchise. I started playing when The Witcher 2 came out. Loved it. A big fan of the universe and the lore, and I'm actually a massive fan of Witcher 3 as well, and the show, but hey. But the reason it's at 10 is I can't really put it above my other games because I'm not far enough into it yet. I'm kind of still pretty early days, I imagine, actually. So I actually love it every time I play it, but I'm just nowhere near close.
So I haven't actually finished the game yet, that's the reason.
Yeah,
that's fair enough, because every Witcher 3 playthrough is like, that's 120 plus hours worth of
long game.
Time to put into a game.
Yeah, I can already tell it's going to be high, and when I get through it, it'll probably be easily top 5, but I can't in good conscience put it at the top or near the top if I'd barely played it, for various reasons, fair. Just time and whatnot.
Yeah, I have one playthrough Witcher 3, which is 180 hours. So
fucking hell.
My first playthrough I think was 140, and I've just finished I'm near the end of my current playthrough, which is my second ever playthrough, and I'm currently at like 260 hours total playtime. So
I will say that is with all the DLC as well.
That's
so like
that's fucking hell.
I can't remember what the second DLC is called.
Blood and Wine.
Blood and Wine, that's really big. So
Blood and Wine, I'll put this label on it now. Best expansion for a game I've ever played,
absolutely
maybe.
Sublime.
It's bonkers how big it is and how much content there is in there and how good it is.
It's like another. It's like the game, half of the game again. That's how big it is. It's amazing.
I was going to say, as I recall, when CD Projekt Red / The Witcher 3 especially, when they say they're making an expansion for a game, it's a proper fucking expansion. Yeah. Not just like this measly little thing that's an extra 2 hours.
After Hearts of Stone, which was the first expansion, I was like, that's a good expansion. If they do that again, I'm fine. Because that was also like another 30 hours worth of content. Yeah, but then when you get into Blood and Wine, it's like, holy shit. Like this, it's like a whole nother map. Well, I say like, it is. I don't know why I said like, it is a whole other map with like new towns and new areas to explore and new monsters to fight.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't doubt that it's going to be damn good. And you guys talking about it makes me want to play it and bump it up to probably like fucking number 1 or something. But in good conscience, I won't. I guess we could leave that there and move on to the next games because obviously it's going to come up again. So we might as well talk about it near the top.
Spoilers, it's very high on my list.
Yes. We're not heathens here.
Like half an hour in, it's still at number 10, so maybe we should.
Yeah.
Well, keeping in mind, like 10 minutes of that was faffing on.
It's true.
A lot of faff, but we can speed up.
Let's get to my number 10, which is Civilization 5. It might change to Civilization 6, but I just haven't. It's like Joe, I haven't played enough of it yet to like change my mind. If that makes any sense. But like, Civilization was like the first strategy game I really got into. Like, I played Age of Empires 2 when I was younger, and I did really like that. But this game, I know it's like kind of different, but like this game has got like a simple, like addictive nature to it. That I
just one more turn.
Exactly, the just one more turn mentality, and like, I think it's my second most played game ever, according to Steam. Anyway, and just like building wonders and massive armies and just taking over the world is just amazing every time. And like the experiences that I've had online with it, with you guys, has been amazing.
I still remember the first time you launched a nuke and we went, no!
I remember the first time we played a multiplayer match with you. This was years ago at this point, and I for some reason I sailed up my ships over to help you and I captured the city of Buenos Aires. That city got nuked maybe 15 times in a row.
Just a mess. What a goddamn mess.
I can definitely understand your perspective there, Ben, because I've just got to look at my most played games of all time. Number 1, Civ 6, 950 hours. Number 2, Civ 5, 831 hours.
I think it was literally like last week that Civ 5 dropped to number 4 on my list. It was overtaken by Civ 6. So there's I've got a bias towards that franchise apparently.
I've got nowhere near those hours on even Civ 5. I've got like 300 hours on Civ 5, which I thought was quite a lot. But there you go.
Numbers.
It's rookie numbers. I mean, it's nowhere near to my top game, but anyway. Sorry.
Sorry, Joe. You just reminded me of that quote from someone in Chivalry, and it was like, when you've played for 1,000 hours, then you're no longer a noob.
then you'll understand about it.
This is from someone trying to explain to us why parrying is a noob tactic.
God, I wish I had the time.
In all forms of those medieval melee sort of games, the community is just something special.
But I would also like to retrospectively add Civilization to my honourable mentions, because unfortunately, despite the hours you just heard of me playing those, neither of those games actually made it on my list.
Criminal. Kidding me now.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Civ 5 was dope then.
Yeah, on the Civ 5 front, like it is only surpassed by Civ 6 because Civ 6 does the same thing, except I feel like adds a bit. It's Civ 6 is Civ 5 again, except with a bit more on it.
Yeah.
So like that's just how it nets out in my mind. But Civ 5, I mean, Jesus, was a great game and was also my first 4X strategy game. So
fair enough.
It has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I just honestly haven't played it enough. I've played Civ 6 for 20 hours, which is pathetic. So I just need to get into it more. And I need to get I haven't got all the expansions yet, and then I can play with you lot again. And I was
going to say, you need to play with us.
Yeah, but
we'll get your hours up.
Yeah, I am really excited to play it again because it's amazing. Although I'm sad I can't be Elizabeth anymore in Civ 6. I did love being Elizabeth. You'll
never be England again when I'm.
And they don't have the ships of the line anymore. And I was distraught because those things in Civ 5 slayed. They were amazing.
Sorry, Chris misses his panzers, don't you?
I also miss my Civ 5 unit. Because I have traditionally played as Germany in Civilization, and Germany in Civ 6 doesn't have the panzers anymore, where I had the panzers back in Civ 5.
I thought you were Arabia. Has that changed?
He was in Arabia.
I was
in
Arabia.
Civ 5.
In Civ 5, before I was Arabia, I was Germany.
Yes.
I was Germany, then I was Arabia, but then I went back to being Germany in Civ 6, and I never looked back.
Oh, how time is a strange thing. Speaking of time.
Yes, agreed.
Moving on.
Number 9.
Number 9 on my list is FTL Faster Than Light, and I think that's the only appearance it makes on anyone's list, so I'll just quickly say it's my... Well, as it's the only roguelike on my list, it's my favourite roguelike. There's something addictive about, like... I could just do runs and runs and runs, even if I get the same events, I just want to do it. I like the combat, I like moving my men around the rooms, and, like, powering different systems. I like going to the shops and buying, like, different attachments for the ship. Like, every run, even if you pick the same ship at the beginning, every run is different, and I'm just explaining what a roguelike is. I just really like this game.
I mean, I would agree with this sentiment. It's not on my list, but it was mentioned previously when we did this 4 years ago. I do also really love the game, and it, like Civ, which we just discussed, it is also a very addictive game, because I do remember when I first bought it in the Steam sale, I went, okay, I'll try out this FTL thing. Everyone seems to like it. I started at like 9 o'clock, and then at one point I looked out the window, I was like, oh, the sun's coming up. Wait, what?
It's definitely that sort of game. It's like so simple to get into, yet is also hard as nails and has like a complexity under the hood that's just like...
I finished that game twice in the years I have had it. Jesus Christ.
It's complex, but it's got many layers. I never necessarily played it to get to the end. My favourite thing about the game was trying to unlock all the different ship variants and the different ships through the random sort of encounters. I still haven't got the damned crystal ship, which irks me. Boy, did I try.
I also never unlocked that one. I've unlocked like most of the other ships now because they changed the way the unlock system worked, so that I can't remember. It's been a while since I played, actually, boys. But like before, you had to do like very specific random events for some of them, and now they've changed a lot of them to be like challenge based, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that one, but they did change how you unlocked some of them to make it slightly easier on people. I'll discuss it as my final point is when they released like the Advanced Edition DLC for free. That just like expanded the game. That's when they changed that sort of stuff, and the advanced stuff like completely changed how the game played and was awesome. And it makes me want to play FTL right now.
Yeah, I'm also having an urge to play it. Although I want to play. Actually, no, I won't. I won't say that one until I get to it on my list.
Actually, just one last thing on the roguelike -light front. I played like 200 hours of FTL, something like that. I played like nearly 900 hours of The Binding of Isaac, and that didn't make this list. And it used to make the list. It's just the more I play the game, now that I've reached 900 hours, the more I like it just that bit less every time I play The Binding of Isaac. So that didn't
hours.
That didn't make the list.
That's a lot of hours.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, fair play. Great game. Deserved spot. Dion?
Alright then. My number 9, sorry. Number 9 on my list is Alien Isolation. Because goddamn is that a good fucking game. But no, yeah, me being me, I am a coward when it comes to horror. Don't watch horror films. Very rarely play horror games. In fact, I've only played horror games twice in my life, and both of those were for the Blunt Limits Twitch channel. Shameless plug.
Go watch it.
But yes, Alien Isolation really does do justice to the Alien franchise as well, because I love Alien and Aliens. I've never watched the films beyond those two. I prefer Alien to Aliens, but that's because I like the more horror aspect as opposed to like a horror action, which is very much what Aliens is. Not that I'm discrediting Aliens. Aliens is awesome, but no, yeah, Alien Isolation is excellent at nailing down that horrifying feeling of being trapped on a station with an intelligent alien organism which consistently tries to hunt you down and is too damn smart for its own good and is bloody terrifying. And Joe, you can attest to this as well, can't you?
Wasn't scared once, mate. Don't you talk about?
Fuck off. I will publicise that Let's Play series again.
Well, actually, it'd be private, but there is a scare compilation of just me screaming and swearing for about 2 minutes. Yeah, terrifying
watch
game.
that now.
Yeah, you could. It's amusing on so many levels. But yeah, great game. One of the best horror games I've ever played. Probably the best, to be honest. I haven't played that many. It's up there on Nero.
I've played this too. This is probably my favourite horror game ever. It's great.
It's high praise indeed.
It's not on my list. Like, it's probably a bit further down, but because I finished it in like 12 hours. But I don't know. Time isn't everything, but actually, I finished Batman in like 12 hours. I don't know. It's just
I don't
great.
I don't think the time played any factor. To me, if anything, it was too long.
Fair
It
enough.
dragged a bit. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I remember feeling the middle dragged a bit. Too long.
After a while, I feel like I wasn't really scared of it anymore. More just kind of annoyed. Like it kept coming through vents and just grabbing me. I was like, oh god damn it. But
there is that delicate balance because sometimes there will be sections of the game where you just seem to encounter the alien too much. Now, fortunately, I didn't have these, but I've seen many a Let's Play, and I could easily see why people get annoyed with the alien sometimes because it's just like, go away, please.
but, I mean, like this and Dead Space are like the best horror games, I think.
I never got annoyed by the alien, to be honest. It was that.
Nor did I.
Oh, did you not? That son of a bitch. Just like dropping out the vent and just sprinting at me. It's like, oh no.
No, because it was so impressive.
He's very impressive.
As long as with it being terrifying, it's so thematic and so cool to see it.
Yeah.
And you're always terrified of it, but you could fight back just that little bit if you have
even when you got the flamethrower, you were still scared of it because it's like, right, I need to manage my flamethrower fuel. Otherwise, if this runs out and it comes again, I'm fucked.
There's a great clip on one of the later episodes where I'm hiding in a corner, and it comes in to the room and just walks the other way, and I slowly amble out, pretty much crying. And that sums up the game for me. It was brilliant. All the bits of the humans could have done without. All the human enemies and stuff. Nah, I'm alright.
Yeah, that's another bit that was just like, oh.
Yeah, but the rest of it was incredible. Looked so dope.
Summing up the point of why it's number 9 on my list, rather than say Halo Reach, it's simply because, like I said, I'm not much of a shooter fan, and also the fact that it actually Alien Isolation is what made me want to play horror games because it was from a franchise I loved, and the fact that it's just so damn good that I just have to rank it a tiny bit higher than Halo Reach for me, just because. Even before Halo, I'd played Call of Duty and stuff, so I would play first-person shooters, whereas before Alien Isolation, I would not play horror.
This game actually got me to watch the films. I hadn't seen the films. And yeah, I hadn't seen the films, I didn't know much about it, and then I played this game, and then I was like, I really should watch these films. And then I did, and they're amazing. So, thank you.
They are indeed.
Thank you, Alien Isolation.
Alien's a bit dated, but...
It is, I mean, it's a man in a rubber suit. But it's still pretty scary.
The standards of horror are completely different now. It's still a great movie.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, I'm an Aliens man because while I like Alien, it is slow as molasses, and it kind of puts me to sleep. But that's not.
To be fair, the first time I saw Alien, I did laugh when they're tracking it through the vents. And there's this guy on his own with a very dim source of light, and then the alien appears, and I just laughed out loud so hard because I was just like, why is the alien looking like it wants a hug?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For its time, bloody great. It's still a very well done movie, but yeah, great game. Deserves the number 9, I should say.
Joe, yours?
Yeah, my number 9, and I'm the only one who has got this game on, or anything close to it, is Knights of the Old Republic.
This is a game that I'm always like, I really should play it. And then I noticed it was on Android the other day. I was like, do I just drop the £10 on it on play it on my tablet?
Yes.
And then I was like, I own it already on Steam, so I shouldn't. But I should play the game.
It's another game that I want to play.
It's a great game. It's Star Wars first of all. My issue with Star Wars has always been, it could be so damn cool, but the movies just don't live up to that. Bar maybe the first 2, A New Hope and Empire.
That's a whole other...
Yeah.
I could talk for hours.
Yeah, I'm not going into all that.
We'll put a bookmark on that. That's a podcast topic for another time.
It is. But
Star
KOTOR,
Wars.
as a kid, I was a massive fan of Star Wars throughout all of them. So naturally, bought this game. Well, Mummy bought this game.
Oh.
And yeah, played it. Probably too young to massively understand it at first. But it was Star Wars and laser swords are cool, and that's that. But the story's very good. The characters are incredible. This was BioWare back when BioWare was BioWare, and they knew
BioWare was still good.
Yeah, when the studio was actually BioWare, they made a great story. Incredible cast of characters, good diverse worlds. Everything's very engaging, and I love the game. What can I say? I even like the combat and whatnot.
Considering how much huge fans, you and I are, of the BioWare, like old BioWare RPGs, Joe, it would probably be on my list too if I ever got around to fucking playing it. My only issue with the game is how old it is now,
Yeah.
because it does handle like dog shite on a modern system.
I've
Oh yeah.
sorry, I've got it, and I tried it, and I was like, I'm not sure about this. But
I'm just like, oh, it's old.
Yeah, it was one of those like, oh, this game's old. But I do really want to get into it because everyone goes on about it. And I love Star Wars. In my
That's why I'm thinking the tablet angle might be the way for me to get into it, because on the tablet you're already locked into a certain aspect ratio and all that sort of thing. So
I think it'd be a great tablet game. Just sit there and twiddle on. It's brilliant. That's why this game's not the top 10 best games of all time, technically, because it'll be a lot of modern games probably. But it is clunky as hell to get into, but as all of those old games are. But it holds a very special place in my heart. And I played both of them, the first one and the second one, and I just remembered this one better, to be honest. I want to go back and replay them because I know the second one is just as good, if not better. Especially now they've fixed all the bugs and stuff with all the unofficial patches. So could be either or, but I can only pick one, so it had to be this one.
My only regret when it comes to KOTOR is knowing the fucking plot twist before playing the game.
Yeah, you can't.
I really wish I did not know it, because I can imagine the first time you play that and you go, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, pretty much.
I do not know the plot twist, so
I've also managed to keep away from it.
Oh, really?
Stay oblivious.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. I was going to be like, can we? But yeah, I would play it because, yeah, great story. I won't going to say anything, but
If somehow anyone does decide to comment on this video, don't be a dick and spoil it for these two. Let them live in bliss.
I'll hunt you down. I can see you in the comments there. I can see you.
Yeah, one of the best Star Wars games ever made, if not the best. So yeah, that's why it's number 9 for me.
Benjamin?
Yes, my number 9. I know it seems a bit random, but it's Jak and Daxter, the first Jak and Daxter, from 2001. I think this game came out.
So when I was 5, Jesus.
I think this might be the first console game I ever played on the PlayStation 2. And this is the game that caused me to like... This game like made me fall in love with like video games. I'd never seen anything like this game before. And I just think it's wonderful. Like, it's this amazing adventure in like this weird science fantasy, like steampunk kind of world. And it's so, after all this time, I played it again. I played them all again a couple of years ago. I love all the games, but this one the most. And it controls so well. It looks amazing still, and it's just a great game from like a simpler time, really.
Is the first Jak and Daxter? Is that like a 3D platformer type?
Yeah.
I've only played Jak 3, and I think that's the one that was like trying to be more open world, like GTA style type thing.
It's
if I remember correctly.
They're all like open world, but like kind of the first one's a bit more linear, and it is like a platformer, and you basically go around like collecting things called they're called power cells to like advance to the next area. And it's just always like, it was the first game I played, I was like, oh my god, we're going to like a snow place now, and then you go to a lava place, and it was just
it triggered childlike wonder within you.
It did, they're beautiful. And like this, I love the second and third games as well, but they're a bit more like, he gets like guns in the second one. And
he gets moody
He does get really moody.
He gets angsty.
In the first game he's mute, Jak, and then the second one he's like, I'm gonna kill everyone!
He had some pent up rage.
It's great. And just like playing around with like Eco, which is like the power up system. Like it's great. I don't know. I don't know if the rest of you have played it at all, but
I never played it.
As I said, I've only ever played like the first half an hour to an hour of Jak 3 when I was younger.
Yeah.
That's about the extent I have of experience I have with Jak and Daxter. But it's a perspective that none of us three would have brought to this podcast. So I'm happy to have it.
Cool. Well, that's all I've got to say on that. Really, just they came out, they remastered it. They haven't remastered it, but they put the collection on PS4 like a couple of years ago. But I do want them to do like a HD remake or something because I would I'd buy that shit day one. But they
Fair
haven't done it because they're a bunch of bastards. Anyway, moving on.
Awesome. I will say, we might need to, be a bit quicker through the
Yes.
coming up suggestions.
That'll be fine.
50 minutes begs to disagree.
That'll be fine.
Alright, go on to number 8.
Number 8 for me is God of War 2018. That's a good video game, that one is.
Moving on.
Moving on to the next deal.
You don't have to be that quick.
No,
God of War 2018 is it's like the perfect nexus of like graphics, world, gameplay, and story. Like, I'm not sure there's a game. Well, I guess there's games above this that I like better, but that combines all of them so very well. The other games I feel like are better. The other games higher on my list are better at different things, but this one is like the complete package in a way that like not many games have. Like the Leviathan axe is so fun to play with. The story of Atreus and I have forgotten the God of War's name.
Kratos.
How was it? Kratos. That's it. Like it's like so well told and touching. Like it is like as far as video game go, this is the full package in my opinion.
It's a great.
You could tell that they actually gave a shit when they made it, and it also came out at a time when the video game industry was still very much like single player. That the people don't want it, and then Sony go, it sells our consoles.
Was this the boy one?
Yes.
The boy.
This game completely like reinvented the whole. It reinvented Kratos definitely, and this game made me buy a PS4 for this game specifically.
It almost made me buy a PS4. A game later in my list made me buy the PS4, but this one came damned close.
This is at my number 11 because I just think the combat is just, pardon the pun, but it's godlike.
As a third-person action game with it's almost perfect. It's really good.
No, I want to go play it now. Why didn't I put it higher up? I'm a fool. Anyway.
Second that.
Just final few closing points. I'd never played a God of War game before this one. Like, there's a certain story moment where your character has to do something to do with his past, and I was like, oh, I'm hyped. I have no idea what's happening, but oh hell, I'm hyped for this.
I've played God of War 3, so I knew stuff were coming. Oh, and I loved all those references as well. When he was talking about the Greek gods, oh, I knew that. I was there. Anyway, moving on.
And as my final point, the reason it's not higher is purely just personal reasons. Like the games above this either have nostalgia or I just prefer. I'm not sure that any of the games higher on my list are technically better games than this game, because this game is, as I said, one of the best games mechanically ever made, and with one of the best stories and one of the most it has graphics, gameplay, story, voice, everything technical is amazing about this game. And I'm not sure that any of the games higher on my list have that as well. It's just almost purely personal preference on the ones higher than this.
Reasonable. Fair.
Anyway, next number 8, I guess.
Alrighty. Number 8 on my list is Total War Shogun 2. Another very much nostalgia-based game, but it is also a damned good strategy game. And it was also a kind of, one of the peaks, if not the peak, of the Total War franchise before the sheer drop off a cliff that was Rome 2.
Just a little drop off there.
Just a little. But no, yeah, Total War Shogun 2, my first ever PC game.
Mine too.
Oh.
Scrubs.
And just a lot of damn good fun. And I really do wish I was better at the game as well, because that's one of the reasons it's so low on my list, because I've never actually finished the damn game. Most of my hours in that game is playing multiplayer online matches with you guys way back in the day. I need to explore the game more, and it will probably end up higher on my list, but there's not too much for me to say about it. It's a damn good strategy game. It's one of the best Total Wars that I've played, at least. And yeah, I just enjoy it more than horror games and shooters, so that's why it's 8th on my list, and the other games on my list coming up like Chris's, either have nostalgia attached or I think are just plain better.
Yeah, fair. I'll
I'll
say
have
it as
that.
well. It's on my list.
It's on my list as well.
Yeah, pretty high up. Best Total War in my opinion. Best all round Total War. It has a great story. The setting's dope because Japan. Samurais and whatnot. Exactly. Multiplayer is the best multiplayer in Total War as a franchise. Just it actually had depth to it, and avatars and armies and customization, and yeah, it was a massive step up from previous. And then the following games was a massive step down. Total War was definitely the peak. Shogun was definitely the peak of Total War, and it just hit that sweet spot of a little arcadey, which it kind of suited the theme, but not too much, as it was just becoming something completely different. And yeah, it was an incredible strategy game, through and through. For me,
I cannot agree more.
Yeah. Oh, also the
Is,
DLC was sick.
Yeah,
yeah.
I count Shogun 2 is also on my list, as I said before, but like I count Fall of the Samurai as part of it. Fall of the Samurai, that setting just clicks so much with me. I can just play that campaign again and again and again, and I'll just never get tired of it. I don't know why. I just love 18th century samurai warfare, I guess.
Yeah, and it's done massive justice in this game. And then Creative Assembly took a massive turn on the following, and that's that dead.
That's
Well, I'll say Three Kingdoms is... between the Warhammer games and Three Kingdoms, I feel like they've recovered somewhat. I still don't like them as much as I like Shogun, but I'd say Total War's good again, but
I feel
Just not quite there yet.
that's another topic.
Yeah, not on the same level for me, but yeah, different topic for a different day.
next
Cool.
number 8 then.
My Civ 6, boom. We've pretty much mentioned all that needs to be mentioned on Civ. It sucks your time. It's a dope game. I think I should preface this with plus DLC. I know when it first came out, Civ 6, I preferred Civ 5, but now I can't really remember much of Civ 5 at all. So by default, I just went with Civ 6.
I mean, that's kind of like the Civ cycle. A new Civ comes out, it's always like less liked than the last one because the last one has like so many more DLCs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is the exact situation I'm in right now.
To give them credit, though, with Civ 6, I can't speak for the Civ games prior to that, but with Civ 6, the base game did include most, if not all, of the features that Civ 5 had, plus its expansions.
Civ 6 was the most fully featured Civilization game on launch out of all of them. That said, there was still a few omissions from Civ 5.
Yeah, and
yeah.
there was big issues. The AI was pretty fucked up to begin with.
Still is.
Yeah, but diplomacy was a massive issue. There was a lot of issues when it came out that made it not as fun. But they've definitely improved it. They put a lot of work into it, and it is a great game. Either way, there's definitely some things that could be better, but it's one of the best strategy games I've played through and through, to be honest. So that's why it's number 8.
Tremendous.
All right. Benjamin.
My number 8 is Assassin's Creed 2. I think the only person to put an Assassin's Creed game on here. I think I'm right. Yes. Like, it was really hard to choose which one to put in, actually, because I do really like most of them, apart from, like, the Paris one, whichever that one was.
Unity.
Right. Yeah. It's bad. Anyway, these games, like, really got me into history, weirdly. Like, I learned so much about Renaissance history from this game. It's unbelievable. Like, I went to Florence a couple of years ago, and I was just so excited to see all the buildings that I climbed.
I was going to bring that up too. Me and my family went on holiday to Italy, and I was like, "Hey, we got to go to a town called Montecavecchione.
Oh, mate!
We're going to Florence. went to all this place. It's like in the game."
I was so
I
excited.
jumped
Like,
off that building.
I went to Rome as well, and I was like, I've seen all this, and I love it. It honestly, one of my
I'll
best
actually bring up
holidays.
something that I think Ben and Chris, you two, could also relate to this one. You say it got you interested in history. Same for me, as well as the artistic/technical side of video game making, because I can't remember who was on this trip, but when we had the art trip to Venice, we walked through the area and I went, "Hey, I know this square from the Assassin's Creed multiplayer.
Fantastic.
I've run through here many times."
You see, so yeah, I just loved it, like, for all that. And Ezio is amazing. His outfit is wonderful. I want that outfit. I still want that outfit. And I just love stabbing people. Just so many people.
I just like killing.
Oh, here come the politicians.
What else can I can't really say that much about it. Like the whole franchise, I'd love to talk about the whole franchise sometime because it's really interesting how it goes like up and down and stuff like that. But anyway,
I was gonna say, what made you choose 2 over the others? I'd probably say is the final thing to elaborate on.
I think 2 is where, like, I don't know. It's difficult to say. Like he's got Ezio's the best protagonist, and I also think the setting. I don't know.
Well, from Assassin's Creed 2 was the first time that Assassin's Creed got like really good, and after that they just kept releasing them. And while every Assassin's Creed game, minus Unity, afterwards was also a really good game, it kind of like they kind of all just kind of blurred into one.
Yeah,
But Assassin's
definitely.
Creed 2 had that like unique stamp. It was like this is the first good one. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of just tailed off for me after a while. Although I do have to say, I really, Origins and Odyssey, they are great. They're really great.
Odyssey, well, I wouldn't put it in my top 10. It is like a legitimately great RPG. Like it's like
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of The Witcher 3 in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
except
definitely. It's
not
just-
as good, but
It's just like it's like an entirely different game at that point. So it just kind of, I don't know. Assassin's Creed 2, I got the nostalgia for it as well, I guess, and stuff like the soundtrack. The soundtrack in that game is great. I love the soundtrack. Anyway.
Now, you see, if
Yeah,
I were going to
sound
put Assassin's Creed game on, I would be putting on Assassin's Creed 4, but not for being an Assassin's Creed game, for being a damn good pirate game, and also its soundtrack, because goddamn sea shanties.
Yeah. I turned them off after a while. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to hear them sing the same thing again.
I remember hearing Chris sing them all the time.
I did sing them a lot.
It was
It,
mesmerizing.
it didn't help that game came out when it was first year of uni, when I was playing that game a lot. And
Yeah.
as a result, I was hanging around you a lot.
We were
Yeah.
whipping up a class bolognese, and then in comes Chris singing "Joyful Sailors" or whatnot.
Yeah. And I just
So-
I loved like visiting all these like landmarks in the game and like finding out all the hidden secrets and stuff. And I think that's something that maybe the later games have lost a little bit. So maybe that's why I love this one a bit more. But yeah, that's really
That's
it.
fair.
That's all I've got to say about it, really.
2 was the best. I'll give you that.
On to sevens.
Yes.
We shall move on, since we are running a bit long, I guess. My number 7 is Mass Effect 2. It's the best Mass Effect game. Thumbs up.
I
Agree.
Yeah.
Yes,
I would
hands
agree
down.
with this. I would agree with this sentiment. It's always very close with Mass Effect 3 for me, because despite Mass Effect 3's ending, Mass Effect 3 is a fantastic game throughout.
Yep.
This cannot be denied. Fuck you.
It's alright.
But no, Mass Effect 2 does have that added bonus of, 1, just being good all the way throughout, and 2, as it's I think it's the best game in my opinion to have it's the best game to demonstrate how your choices can have an effect in a game. Whereas other games, they say like, "Oh, you've got lots of choice," and then they don't really do anything with it. Whereas with Mass Effect 2, it's like, my first run through ever did it perfectly. Harry's first run through ever, somehow he killed everyone.
Oh yeah.
Didn't even Shepard die for him? I feel like it was a complete disaster.
How was that even possible?
I don't know. I didn't know it was possible. I was just like, how did you not do everything?
How could you play a game that badly?
If anyone's going to do it, I mean, come on.
Oh.
I remember on mine, Jack was in one to bite the bullet. And I think there was something she just didn't like me. I think I didn't bang her or something. I can't remember.
I remember early on in the game, like with the Paragon stuff, if you didn't have full Paragon, there's like an argument between Jack
Yes.
and I think Miranda.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then if you had to pick one of them, and I always picked Miranda because Jack's a bit of a cunt. So
I agree.
pretty much every playthrough I did at that time, I just like, she died because she
Yeah.
hated me.
She died for
Yeah.
me too. Yeah.
But going into Mass Effect 3, I was like, I'm getting the perfect run, because I won everyone there. Into what will be an incredible and fulfilling final chapter to
What a
stuff.
thrilling conclusion.
The game is fantastic, apart from like the last 5 minutes. Okay, fuck off.
Two's really there.
On Mass Effect 2, I as my closing notes, we probably will talk about Mass Effect 2 again. I'm gonna say probably we will. What I will say is like, I love all the side characters. I love all the. I feel like the main thrust of the story, it's cool up until like, and like the end bit's cool, but I feel like out of all the Mass Effects, it's kind of like the the most simple and straightforward, and it like kind of like rests on it having like a load of great like supporting characters and quests to do. So yeah, that's probably why it doesn't rank higher than that. But I think everything about the game is excellent. But like just that one like story bit for me is a bit of a wobble. But that's me on Mass Effect 2.
Okay.
All right. Well, moving on to my number 7. The only one on the list, because I guess technically it is a franchise. The only Telltale game on the list, Telltale Games, The Walking Dead Season 1, because this was back when, well, it was their first like huge, humongous hit, but also, goddamn, I love that story. Yeah, I love the main character. I love playing as Lee. Clementine, you just want to protect that adorable little thing. And and just, yeah, it's also the closest I've come to, I think, crying at the end of a video game, because goddamn that ending.
I cried at the end of Mass Effect 3, but not for that reason.
But no, yeah, it's, I mean, there's, what can you say about Telltale? Everyone knows who they are / were, although I think they're back now, I can't remember, and what their shtick was. They made story-based games where you make a lot of choices, and this was their first most effective, not their first, but their most effective first big hit of just that formula that they applied to so many different goddamn games, which worked really well for a lot of them and not so well for others. But no, yeah, really good emotional story. There's not much else for me to say on it, unless people want to make comments on The Walking Dead / Telltale's formula.
I mean, what I'll say about Telltale games is it's so much about, for me, with the Telltale game, it's so much about what it's about that gets me. For me, it was the Batman games, the Batman, the Telltale series that really got me.
Those were good.
I don't really get along with Walking Dead per se, so I was never really drawn to play this game. So I've not played it, but if I had to pick a Telltale game, that's what I'd pick. But
So, yeah, I love the first one. I don't know what it is about the Telltale games. I absolutely adored the first Walking Dead, and then didn't care for any of the other Telltale games. I just they overplayed the formula and it ruined it.
Yeah, I think I finished this one. I can't remember, but yeah, Telltale with me. I was just like, I really love The Wolf Among Us. That game is great.
Same. I was so excited when they announced the second one, and then they closed.
The Batman one, I was just like, I just didn't like the story very much. So I don't know.
There's I feel like for a conversation for the future. I mean, I liked the story. That was what I liked the most about the Batman Telltale. But,
yeah, I've just never really got into them that much, apart from The Wolf Among Us. That's me.
Right.
Anyway,
yes, Joseph.
We'll move on to the next number 7, but I feel like we can combine the next two number 7s.
Oh my god!
One person talking about, well, two people talking about one number 7, I guess.
That's true. We've already talked about it.
We have already talked about it.
RDR. What's RDR?
Rapid Descent.
Well, you both put it at 7?
Yes, Ben. Yeah, we did. Me and Ben both put Red Dead Redemption. For all the reasons we've said.
Yeah.
Brilliant story. Dope multiplayer. Great characters. Just a bit shit. Just not good enough to be number 6.
I fucking hate it. I think it's terrible.
Worst memories of my life. But yeah, brilliant game as we said. So
yeah, yeah. I got
number 5.
6.
No, number 6.
Number 6. Oh my god, really?
Oh my god.
Number 6.
Like, I'll edit this out. Do you guys want to call an audible and stop at number 5 and split this into 2 podcasts, or do you want to just power through to finish it?
I was
No,
thinking,
I'd say keep going.
It's a marathon this time.
Yeah.
Maybe we keep the Blunt Lemons combined top 10?
Yeah, we saved that one. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Or is that pointless? I don't know.
We'll discuss it later. Anyway, number 6 on my list is Total War Shogun 2. We can speed up because I've said a lot of good things about Total War Shogun 2.
Japan Samurais equals number 6. Top stuff.
Like, it's my most played. Is it my most played strategy game? I think it's my most played strategy game. I love the setting. I love the gameplay. It's the most streamlined Total War game, and hence the best Total War game, because they can get a bit buried under guff later on.
You've played it more than Civ?
Yes, I played it 797 hours. Civ 6, I'm on 773. So it's a close call, but there you go.
Right, fair enough. My number 6 is XCOM 2. A fantastic sequel of a game, because basically, if anyone's played XCOM 1, it's XCOM 1, but better. And then with the War of the Chosen DLC as well, dear God, that game is fucking amazing. XCOM is so much fun. my favorite, one of my favorite parts of XCOM is just creating all the custom characters to use throughout. Like, I always make all of the lemons, and I make my immediate friends and family. And most of us generally survive.
I feel like most of them survive or they die straight away. Like, they'll panic, throw a grenade, and blow themselves up, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. But, no, yeah, a really good strategy game about aliens invading Earth. Well, that's the first one. And the second one, a resistance trying to fight off the aliens. And I guess there's not much to spoil story-wise, but so I don't want to say too much about it, because there are lots of pleasant things. There are lots of Easter eggs for those of you who played the first game.
It's kind of a reveal at the end, right? There's definitely something that took me off guard. And I expected it, and I was dissatisfied by it, I must say.
I remember feeling a bit about it, but I was just happy to have finished the damn game, because I never finished XCOM 1. That was the only thing I'll say about XCOM 2. XCOM 1, in my mind at least, is harder than XCOM 2.
Yeah, probably. I found the last mission really easy. By the stage I got there, my guys were so powerful. I just ruffle stomped the boys, and everyone got out alive, and I was like, okay. Another good day's work.
Really good turn-based strategy game with a lot of good customization, good story, good mission variety, and very damn good mod support. All of my troopers in the last game I played were either clone troopers or Spartans.
Naturally.
But no, yeah, pick it up if you haven't tried it and you're a fan of strategy games. Seriously, it's so good. It's a bit expensive, but
XCOM's one of those things I just really want to get into, but for some reason I just can't get over the first hour. I played like 40, 45 minutes, I'm just like, I'm just going to stop. And then I never
both
play it
games,
again.
as I recall.
Yeah, both XCOM and XCOM 2.
I'm the same.
It's a commitment. It's a commitment with no real multiplayer either. But
yeah, that's the only bit that's mainly disappointing about XCOM, the multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't know why there isn't some form of co-op. Maybe you control like a squad of 3 or something. I don't know, but it's one of the best strategy games out there, period. Either way. I felt like
Hence why it's number 6 on my list, because I prefer it over. It's more my style of strategy game than Total War is.
That's fair. To be honest, I haven't done any honourable mentions because I didn't know we were doing them, but I'll give it an honourable mention because it's sick. It's so good.
Right. Joe?
Yes.
Number 6.
So my number 6 is Fallout 3, and I'm the only one who did this because I'm the only one who majorly likes Fallout. It has good taste, Christopher. Thank you. Excellent taste.
Man of culture, you might say.
Yes, I'm a man of extreme culture.
I don't know why I took a shot at myself there, but fuck it, why not?
Yeah, I thought I misheard you, and I thought I heard you.
And the rest of us.
Yeah, I
take shots at you guys all the time, but myself, why would I do that?
Madness. Yeah, Fallout 3. Picked it up back in the day at old Blockbuster. Yeah.
Oh, hey.
That old ancient. Yeah, when you could rent games. Got that alongside Bioshock because it came as like a 2-for-1. Wanted to play Bioshock. My brother ended up playing tons of Bioshock. I was like, fine, for fuck's sake, I'll play Fallout 3. Played Fallout 3 and never ended up playing Bioshock.
That is an amazing rent deal right there.
That's good.
That's a lot of hours of great gaming to play.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at Fallout in the I saw trailers and I was like, oh, okay, because obviously I was a fan of the Elder Scrolls and stuff and Bethesda, and I was like, okay, but I didn't know if it was for me. So I kind of got it just as a free sort of, I'll take it with me. Ended up playing it, and now it's number 6 because it's. I know people have a lot of issues with Bethesda's thing, but I'd never heard of Fallout before Bethesda took it on. It introduced me to the universe, incredible universe, fun, gloomy, wacky, and absolutely nuts. And it's absolutely exceptional. It's sunk a lot of my life into it, and the DLC is top notch. Gameplay is clunky as shit, I'll give you that, but back in the day, I did not give a fuck.
I mean, that's just a function of age, really. It's an older game now, so it's a bit clunky.
Oh, I mean, it was clunky for the day. It was a clunky ass
It's
game.
a Bethesda game. It's a function of being a Bethesda game.
It's a little bit janky.
I mean, Oblivion gets all ye old memes. It's hilarious. But Fallout is like the Oblivion Fallout is the same thing, and as you'll see later in my list, I obviously love that because yes, I'm a massive fan. The story, the character, the world, everything. Mwah. And I'd put Fallout New Vegas up as well, but I played Fallout 3 first, and it's got that nostalgic edge for old Joey. So come at me, Fallout fans. There we go, dropping the mic.
But
I'm leaving.
where's Fallout 76 in your list? I don't see it there.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Fallout died for
there's
me
a Fallout
after Fallout
76.
4. Like, Fallout 4 came out, I was like, this is okay. This is alright. Bit shit. Oh, it's okay. If it was a random game, it would be alright.
Right?
It's not a good RPG. It's a terrible RPG. So I'm scared.
Maybe that's why I only did the first hour of Fallout 3. Yeah, somehow played 25 hours of Fallout 4.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's the aforementioned bad taste right there.
Exactly. Terrible taste. Bethesda should go back to doing the main. I'm going to talk about it in Oblivion. The main thing that Bethesda do well is allowing you to make your own character in a million different ways. That can be whoever you want. Fallout 4, fuck that. I'm done. Moving on.
All right, Benjamin.
Oh, yes. We're still at number 6. Yes, number
Alright.
6.
So-
My number 6 is Kingdom Hearts 2.
You're the first person. Well, I say that I probably knew this about. You're the only person I know who knows anything about Kingdom Hearts.
I barely know anything.
I listen to the plots of like Kingdom Hearts games, like, oh, the Heartless has taken Mickey
Mate.
Mouse's heart, and then the Organization 13. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
So have any
This is
of you
insanity.
have any of you actually played any of them?
No.
Never on the PlayStation.
Because yeah, I mean, I know I love this game, but I can't explain it. So
I don't think anyone can.
the story absolutely makes no sense at all. Like, I have no idea what's going on the whole time. It's like, it's Final Fantasy mixed with Disney in a Japanese RPG. Like, it just shouldn't work, but it does.
But it does.
It does. It does, and it shouldn't work, but it does, and it doesn't matter, because you get to go all the Disney worlds with Donald Duck and Goofy, who's got a shield, and you fight monsters. It's great. It's just great. It's beautiful to look at. Every different world you go to is just so different and fun to explore. Like, you go to different worlds and you like sometimes you go to like different Disney worlds and you like sometimes adapt to like suit that world. So you go to like the Little Mermaid and you change into a merman. Goofy turns into a turtle. It's amazing.
I mean, not the same game, but I've watched a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 3, and when they go to Toy Story World and they all look kind of toy-y.
Yeah, they turn into like toys.
That's cute.
And you go to like the Lion King world and he turns into a little lion. It's very cute. And like the combat is just it's like bonkers, but it's amazing. Like flying around, you're spinning all over the place. You've got special moves and magic, and then you can like summon other characters, someone like the genie from Aladdin to like punch someone. It's amazing.
It's a great use of wishes, that one. Hey genie, I wish for you to punch that man in the face.
Exactly. And I love the original as well, but yeah. And I've got Kingdom Hearts 3 just sat there waiting to play it, and I'm really excited to play it. But yeah, love them, can't explain them. So there you go.
Oh, you're not alone in the world. People love Kingdom Hearts. I just want someone to explain to me what the fuck it's actually about.
There's just
At some point.
There's just too much content. That's my problem with it. Like Kingdom Hearts 1, and then you've got like Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance or like Kingdom Hearts 2.5 remix, and you're like, what
There's also like a
fuck?
Kingdom Hearts 2.8 or
Yeah,
something like
exactly,
that.
exactly.
Like,
There's just-
we've already done 2.5. Let's we don't want to do the third one yet, but we need another one.
Like, I know when I start Kingdom Hearts 3, it's gonna just be like, we're doing this, and by the way, this person died, but then they came back again as a goblin man, and you're like, oh, okay. So
Okay, then I'll just accept it because I'm in Toy Story World.
exactly. I loved it for like the Disney stuff and the combat, and that's all that matters to me, really. So there you go. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Play 'em, or don't play 'em. Do what you want. You know.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts is one of those franchises where like it's too dense to get into at this point. I'm happy for the people who enjoy it, but there is too much. There's too much out there to ever get into it.
Yes, it's very.
It sucks up
Japan.
all your time, one might say.
It's a what?
It sucks up all your time. Oh,
It does suck
speaking
of. Oh, time.
Joe,
Oh,
Joe, get over it. No matter what, this is going to be a long one anyway.
time.
If we keep trying to speed it up, we're just going to go number 6, this, 5, this, 4, this.
man,
Chris.
That'll just be boring.
Chris
So.
number 5.
But yes, we've now finally made it to the top 5. To all of you who've stuck around, thank you very much.
Nobody's stuck around.
No one.
We have a few fans.
Oh. I mean, I hope they stuck around, because I'll be very sad.
Oh, it's
A
more
lot of them are
for-
Aussies.
it's
A
more
lot
for
of them are
our fun.
Aussies, but we do have it.
Anyway, number 5, Batman Arkham City. I like Batman, and he punches people a lot, and it's fun.
Good, anyway, that was number 5.
I feel like we do this joke every time we get to me. Anyway, Arkham City. I had a hard time placing Arkham games on this list because for different reasons, I genuinely adore every Arkham game, and every one of them could have occupied my number 5 spot.
Yeah.
I feel like Arkham City, though, is like the perfect nexus point between like what the Arkham games do well, which is like nailing down the Batman character and that free flow combat and the world to explore, and that's really what Arkham City does well. Which that's the first time the free flow combat felt as it will in the rest of them, like so fluid and like snappy and like impactful.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought they did that pretty well in Asylum, but then again, I played through all the games once and that was it. So
I mean, playing through City compared with Asylum feels clunky, but like it's not clunky, but compared to City and especially like Night, which is like the top of like the free flow combat goodness, it like Asylum feels its age.
it's difficult to go back to Asylum from Night. Night is top draw on that, but anyway, I'll get to Asylum later on because it might feature, maybe.
spoilers.
But I feel like Chris, me and you could just go on about these games for like forever. Cause...
Yeah. What I said with God of War, I don't think this is technically a better game than God of War 2018.
No.
I just love Batman so much, and I love Gotham City, and Arkham City, I guess, in this specific one. And I love, like, exploring it, and all. Like, Rocksteady put so much care and attention to every little detail that you can tell that they just adored Batman, like,
yeah,
top to bottom, with all the references and the, like, story elements and the collectibles, as well as also it's written by the same people who made Batman the animated series, so it has a lot of that connection for me.
That'll have helped.
yeah. I'm with it. Like just the care and attention to detail. Like even the way it's such a cliche thing to say, but you feel like Batman, and it's great to like you actually feel powerful even though you're just a man. Somehow.
There's nothing that gives me greater gratification in like stealth games than being Batman crouched on a gargoyle and seeing thugs down below just freaking out.
It's
like, where the fuck is he? Where is he? He's going to get us. He's going to get us at any minute. And then I go down and break someone's
when
legs.
You're perched on a gargoyle and his cape is like fluttering, and you just.
Now I need to play Asylum again.
Feeling. And even like the way he walks with like this weighty like grace to him, and it's amazing. Love him.
I can second this. Although it's not on my top 10 list, I will give the Arkham franchise a shout out, because I do also love those games. I've only played through them all the once, and that was it, because I was just kind of like, I've had my fill. I might do you again at some point, but otherwise.
Yeah, but like on me picking Arkham City above the other ones, every other Arkham game I feel has like just like one catch too many. Sometimes like Arkham Origins, great story and everything, combat feels a little off. Arkham Knight, great everything except you have to be in that Batmobile for far too long. Stuff like that. Arkham City is like the nexus point of what I think makes a good Arkham game.
Fair.
Alright. On to my number 5. We have Crusader Kings 2. Now, I'm the only one here who's played this in full, and well, it's definitely the only time it appears on the list. But the easiest way to describe this game, well, first of all, it's one of Paradox's many grand strategy games, but the best way to describe it is Game of Thrones, the video game. That is essentially what it is, because unlike most strategy games where you're playing as a nation trying to conquer territory and such, in this game you play as a house. And your goal throughout the game is just to... You start in... Oh, the earliest you can start at 769, and it ends... I can't remember the end year, actually, but it's somewhere in the... I think it's in the 11th century. I think. And the goal is just to make sure your house survives throughout the ages. There are role play elements. Your characters that you play as have stats because you always play as the head of your house, assuming your house is still alive, and you can do all the traditional strategy game things of conquering your neighbors and expanding your territory and forming nations and such. For a classic example, Starter Island, as it's called. You can play as one of the many clans in Ireland and then unify it under one flag if you manage to conquer the whole thing. Same with every other country in the game. I'm currently doing an England run-through, where England is not England. It is different, varying city-states, and everyone is scary because England is not powerful when it's not unified. But no, yeah, it's a really interesting take on the strategy genre, which I'm surprised I haven't seen more do, because it's really fun playing as a house rather than a country.
I'm gonna say I don't know anything about it, and you kind of turned me onto it a little bit, actually.
And for a little promotion as well, it is now free on Steam. And the base game I can vouch for is very good, because played the base game on its own before trying any of the DLCs. Playing the base game is what made me get the DLCs.
I think they should pay us for that advert. I'm not gonna lie.
Our rate is very high. I'm sorry, Paradox, or whoever makes this game.
You're about to ask something there, Chris, or?
Is Crusader Kings the one that's kind of similar to Europa Universalis?
Yes, it is. Europa Universalis came after Crusader Kings 2. They are almost the same game, apart from Europa Universalis is a strategy game where you're playing as a country rather than as a house. And also, Europa Universalis includes the whole world, whereas Crusader Kings 2 just has Europe, North Africa, and, with one of the DLCs, China. But you can actually export your save from Crusader Kings 2 if you manage to finish a game to Europa Universalis for custom start world, which is pretty fucking cool as well.
That's cool.
Also, when you end the game, there's a chronicle of your house that you can export. So you have all the events and stuff listed on your computer in a text file to document how you did. And just for a quick example of how things can very much differ, because it has historical events and everything in it, but there's no guarantee things are going to happen as according to history. For example, in my run-through, I was playing as Ireland, and I'd unified it, but pretty much from the beginning of the game, the Holy Roman Empire had managed to reform, and then by the end of the game, the Holy Roman Empire had started invading the British Isles, and I just went, you know what, just take it. I surrendered, became part of the Holy Roman Empire, and I just ended the game because I was like, I didn't want that to happen. But it was pretty fucking cool.
It sounds like a good alternate history generator.
It sounds very good.
It is. It is awesome. I would highly recommend it. It has a very steep learning curve, though, like most Paradox grand strategy games do, though. That is the only thing I'll put out there as well. Only negative. And why it's number 5 on my list is because, well, like I said, it's a unique premise in my mind, at least for a strategy game that is focusing on a house and with the roleplay elements involved.
Terrific.
That's about it. Joe?
Yes,
If you live.
it sounds good.
That sounded like stock audio that you just slide in.
Look, I'm sorry I put a game no one else has played on there. Fuck you. I really like it.
Oh yeah, I can't complain. My number 5 is Gears of War 2, so ain't no one playing that.
I played Gears of War 2, and I played it with you at once upon a time.
I remember that, yes. Yes, as Chris knows well, Gears 2 it's a good game. It's a good game. It's I enjoyed. There we go. I don't know. I played I couldn't really differentiate. I've only played the first 3. I say only played. I don't know how many there are now. There's 7.
5. No, 6.
There's Judgment and all the other ones, but
Yeah, I forgot about Judgment.
yeah, I don't. The first 3 were very good, and it was an open and closed story, and it didn't need to go on beyond that. But that's not the point of the video. I could pick any of the first 3 really. They're all really good, but you pick one, and Gears 2 kind of stood out to me, as it was the most grandiose, bombastically stupid and epic, and emotional at the same time. So, has one of those stories that stuck with me through all my memories in gaming, hence why it is number 5. This probably is not the most technically brilliant game or any of that, but
Would you say it still possibly holds up? Because it is a franchise I've always wanted to try, but I've never played. So I would like to play 1, 2, and 3 if they're still bearable.
Well, Gears 1 has a remaster, which I played like half of, which is pretty good. Gears 2, I can't really remember, to be honest.
Probably holds up. It's the mechanics are pretty simple. It always used to be really smooth. Yeah, I'd definitely say give it a go. It's more about the story. On the face of it, just a bunch of beefy bros shooting monsters. But
that's the thing. That's the thing about Gears of War. Is like on the face of it, it looks like the most dude bro game ever. You know, like
chainsaws and
big,
shit.
big and beefy. I'm gonna chainsaw this man in half. But then you get into it, and like Dom's got like a wife who's missing, and like they all have like
it's got
deeper
a lot of soul.
Character and soul than you'd expect from. I'm Marcus Phoenix, and I'm gonna chainsaw a man in half.
Which is definitely there, but it meshes incredible action. Some of the like action, especially for that, you just don't see anywhere else. Some of the it's got one of the best opening crawls of a game, in my opinion, just period in Gears 2. Like just on the giant machines rolling through armies of locusts. It's an experience that you do need to have. It's action, emotion, and all that goodness, and the multiplayer is incredible. That's why another reason I picked 2, because that was the first game I started playing the multiplayer. And it's already good. It's a shame that they continued it because money, and they don't have a ton of IPs like Sony.
Well, I mean, this is a debate for another time. I hear Gears of War 5 is actually really, really good. But,
so do I. But the in between, it started, had a story, and ended really well.
Much like Halo, Gears was a franchise that kind of ended, but then Microsoft had to continue. And both of them carried on well. It's just they both got a reputation as a result.
Yeah, like the real reputation would have been perfect if it ended when it ended. I don't resent that it continued, but it was just one of those games that when I finished 3, I was like, I didn't need any more. Not because I was tired of it. I was just like I was satisfied with where it ended and all the characters. And yeah, any of the games I could have put here, but 2 for the reasons I said. There you go.
Wonderful. I've played.
Benjamin.
Oh, yes. Hello. Yes. Are we on number 5?
5.
Yeah. So my number 5 is...
We're getting there.
Yeah, my number 5 is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original.
How could you support EA like that, you monster?
No.
2005.
Let's move on.
Suffix.
He's spotting a criminal.
Shut your whole mouths.
I think EA have done a really good job with the franchise and have released a lot of games. They haven't. They've released, what, 3? Or is it
2?
Hey, Jedi Fallen Order.
Sorry, no, 3.
Anyway,
I'm playing Jedi Fallen Order right now. It's fantastic.
It is really fucking good.
But
that's because it's more of a Respawn game than an EA game.
But anyway,
my favourite game of last year, I think.
It's a great game.
Really?
It's really great. I just wished EA would release more like it instead of...
I wish that there wasn't an exclusivity deal with EA, but this is a topic for another time.
Yeah, this is a topic for another time. I had to put a Star Wars game in my top 10 because I love Star Wars very, very much. And there's a lot of great Star Wars games, so this was actually quite hard to do. But in the end, this is the only one for me, really. Like, I love the original as well, but this one is just, like, sublime. Going through the era, going through, like, the story with the 501st Legion, going into, like, from the Clone Wars to the Galactic Civil War, I think is great. The space combat is just fantastic. I never ever got tired of flying from one ship to another and like blowing up from the inside or whatever you did, like disabling it. I loved
that was
doing
my favourite thing to do in the space battles.
Yeah, just like getting in your little bomber, bombing the hell out of it, and then getting inside of it and disabling all of the inner bits, and then just keeping on going.
I just love the dogfights, and if we ever make the video public again, it has some damn good moments as well. My favourite Star Wars Battlefront 2 memory is, strangely enough, as of recent, as opposed to way back when we played it, because when we played it for the channel, and I'll always remember that moment where Joe and I were the rebels, Chris was the Empire, and I was flying around the Star Destroyer trying to bomb it, and then Chris came after me, and then Joe came after Chris, and then we were all just constantly flying around the Star Destroyer in what was the most epic and longest chase ever.
It did make for an incredible chase, that.
It was great from your perspective, because you could see all 3 of us.
That sounds awesome.
Battlefront 2 is awesome.
But I'm not gonna lie, the real reason I put it here is because of that Mos Eisley Hunt mode.
Oh, that's when you can play as the heroes.
I used to play it with my sister, and we would play that literally all day.
Me too. I used to play with my sister.
Well, I didn't play with my sister, but I played it.
Love doing that. Just swapping between the characters every now and then. Just putting it on the setting where it could go on for infinity and just going and going. It's just great.
For me, Star Wars Battlefront 2's true strength is like nostalgia. Like that was game was like so many hours of my 10-year-old life.
It's true. I like Star Wars for me has been always been more than the films. To be honest, because I started I had my Star Wars toys and I love playing with those, and then those Star Wars games, just being a Jedi is just great. Or
on the toys front, Star Wars Battlefront 2 feels like an extension of the toys. You're
yeah.
All the clone troopers over there, droids over there, and
exactly.
Bash them together.
All I would do with my Star Wars toys, I'd have Luke and I'd have Vader, and they would just be fighting constantly, and that's what I could do in Battlefront 2. That's why I love it so much. So, although
I'll
Luke,
do an honourable mention as well.
Yeah. Although Darth
honourable mentions.
Darth Maul is the best character in that game. But anyway.
I can't remember.
As a quick side note, I feel that the next podcast has to be Star Wars. The topic. Just Star Wars. A talk about Star Wars.
I could talk about Star Wars for literally 24 hours. I feel like it needs to be more.
We probably have to narrow it down a bit on the things.
We could streamline it, but
Did any of you have
I have a lot of complex feelings about modern Star Wars.
Did any of you have a favourite character in that game? Battlefront 2. Just kind of.
Oh, I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Fair
It's
enough.
been so long.
Again, another more modern memory is when we were playing it on PC, and I'd be Obi-Wan Kenobi who could force push.
Yes.
And every time Joe would get into a fight, I'd just go force push and then run away.
Oh my god.
That'd be all I do.
All my recent memories are horrible.
I remember someone would be Yoda, and Yoda could do force push and force pull. So he's constantly pushing you and then pulling you back, and it's a fucking endless nightmare of pain.
I remember that actually. Yeah.
Also, I did love being Darth Vader because he could glide in a really funny way, just along the ground, and I loved it. Anyway, we can talk about it another time because I feel like I've already spent too long on it. But I love that game. Love it.
Fantastic game. That's why it's got 2 honourable mentions as well. One from me, one from Joe.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll give it one too. Why not?
No,
there we go.
Let's just put it top of the list. Why don't we?
We'll place it number 11.
I wish I put it higher now. Actually.
Right. Okay. Let's swiftly move on with the top 4.
My number 4 is Pokemon Soul Silver. It's my favourite Pokemon game, hence it got its spot on the list. I don't think it's the best Pokemon game. Well, no, fuck it, it is. I was gonna be well, maybe Pokemon Ultra Sun, and no, let's not get into the minutiae of which is the best Pokemon game. I could argue about it a long time.
I could argue with you, yes.
I'd put Pokemon Silver, the Game Boy Color version, but I'd put the DS remakes because they are it took the lessons that Pokemon learned after that and applied it to Pokemon Silver again. Pokemon, by many metrics, is baby's first RPG, yes, but it also has a lot of complexity and underneath the surface. I mean, I feel like I say that a lot about the games I pick. They're simple, but unless you look under the hood, at which point we find out they're very complex. But this one had I love catching Pokemon because I'm a child. And this one had my favourite Pokemon in to catch. Not only that, it had the best story, in my opinion, and not only when you finish the story and beat the Elite Four, you get to unlock the whole other region as well. It's you get to go through Kanto again, and everything's slightly different because it's 3 years in the future from Pokemon Red. And
wait, you could do that?
Yeah, in Pokemon Silver.
Hang on.
Once you beat the Elite Four, if you sailed
shut the fridge door.
If you used surf to sail right from your hometown, you got to Kanto.
Are you absolutely? You are jumping on my grave. I did not. That's crazy.
Was that actually a thing?
Yeah. You guys
Holy shit.
You guys never did that in Pokemon Silver?
No.
That's
I didn't know that was a thing.
Pokemon Silver.
God damn.
You go to Kanto and because Koga, who used to be the poison type gym leader, he's in the Elite Four now. His daughter runs that gym. Everything's slightly different. Team Rocket's up to some shenanigans.
I still have Soul Silver. I need to go back and play
God, I'm
this.
going to go play it right now.
then after all of that, after you beat all the gyms there, then you talk to Professor Oak, he lets you onto something called Mount Silver or Mount Gold if you're in the gold version. And then at the top of that, there's Red, and you can battle him and his classic team of Charizard and Pikachu and all that sort of stuff.
What?
So Ben, you and I are definitely playing Soul Silver after this.
I need to. Is it Soul Silver or the original Silver?
Both.
Because
Yeah. Soul Silver and Heart Gold are like faithful remakes of
oh my god, that's
Silver and Gold.
that's
So
blown.
it's got the same stuff in it.
It's blown this little boy's mind. I'll tell you what. Pokemon Silver is the only Pokemon game I've ever played, and it might be the first game I ever played, and I did not know that. And I do love that game. So
Clearly not very.
I don't like I could talk a lot about why Pokemon's great, and I feel like Pokemon Soul Silver like embodies most of what makes Pokemon great.
yeah.
And that's kind of all I've got to say on it.
Shall we spare Joe's sanity?
Yes, let's move on to next number 1.
I love Pokemon, mate.
Yes, obviously.
I
And
want to
anime.
be the very best.
No.
Anyway.
Pokemon.
Right.
I know
Moving
all
on
the words
to-
that song.
So do I.
I know the Pokemon.
Okay,
Oh, please,
that's
regale
insanity.
us.
That's actually insanity.
No,
right there.
no. Let's stay on track. For love of go.
I think I've forgotten it actually, so you're spared. Moving on.
Right. Yes, my number 4 is a game that Joe very much can relate to, and Ben kind of can now. Space Engineers.
What's that?
Space.
Because fucking hell, that game is awesome. Think Minecraft, just a little bit more complicated, and space! And you've got Space Engineers. This game came out in early access, God knows when, I can't remember, can you, Joe?
About 4 years ago, something stupid.
It was before uni, I think,
Was
or
it?
at least the beginning of uni.
Who knows?
So it was quite a while ago, but no, yeah, this is a game that came out when the early access craze really kind of took off, and as the years went on, a lot of early access games just got abandoned, and people were just like, oh, you're playing an early access game, yeah? Good luck at that one. But no, to give this team the full credit they fucking deserve, they started it, and they stuck with it, and they goddamn finished what they started, and I have far too many hours in that game to count. It is my third most played game. 4 hours short of Civ 5, 827 hours.
It's a lot of spaceships.
And yeah, it's so much fun just starting on Earth, building your way up of what few resources you have, and making your way to space, and then to the moon, and then to Mars, and then another third world, because they just decided, what, we'll put in 3 whole fucking planets.
And in a very good way as well. It's the most satisfying feeling in the world leaving Earth. Or any planet, I would imagine.
It gets the sense of scale down to a T, because when you're on a planet, it's not like a small world that you can make your way around in like half an hour. No, this is a fucking planet.
It's a big boy. Orbit and all. Atmosphere, everything. And it's one of the coolest looking things you'll ever see.
But yeah, no, I could gush over this game for hours. It is that's another point as well. It is a beautiful looking game. When they updated it to was it DX11, DX12, the lighting and everything was just mwah.
Yeah.
Considering
They improved the game a lot, which is a massive testament, I should say, to the guys.
Yeah, considering the game started out as you just spawn in an infinite asteroid field and you can kind of mess around, they came so far, and then some, as Joe says.
When I started playing it again a couple of weeks ago, I was staggered by what you had built. I was like, how on earth have they done this? It's incredible. All those ships, that base in the mountain, that giant rocket, all of it's connected up. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a completely different game from what I played, I don't know, 2016?
It was at university, so yeah.
Something like that. And I can see myself really getting into it more. I just need to finish building my crap ship. So
No, if you want to play some after the podcast.
I don't have time. But I'd love to. I would love to, but yeah. And it just seems pretty good. And going to space is great. It's awesome. I love it. Looking for uranium for 4 hours. is less exciting.
It's alright, Ben. I found some.
Oh, you found some! Oh my
Yes.
god.
But we could talk about that when you and Joe rejoin me in the game. I'm refraining from playing at the moment because I've done a lot without you two, and I'm just like, I want there to be something for you two to do.
Okay.
Slash, I think the base might be out of power on the planet. I don't know because I've been in space for God knows how many hours.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, Space Engineers, damn good game. If you are a fan of games like Minecraft, that's the best, closest summary I can give to it.
If you are a fan of games.
If you like Minecraft and you like sci-fi and you like space, get this game. Do yourself a favor. It's fun.
It is fun. It's like Skyrim with guns. There you go.
Well, Joe, you're number 4.
Yes, number 4 is Total War Shogun 2 for all the reasons we have said. We don't need to talk about it more. I have heaped its praises. It's number 4 because it is one of the best strategy games ever made. Total War at its peak. Before
Great
it went
game.
right off the fucking hill.
Japan. Samurai. It's great.
Japan's cool. Single player, multiplayer,
Gatling
it's all
guns.
good. Yeah. Boom, boom, ships, swords, swords. What more could you like? If you're a fan of games, I recommend you play it.
I think we should say that now for every single game. If you're a fan of games, maybe get this one.
You should pick this one up. But yeah, we've said enough about Shogun 2. It's exceptional for all the reasons we've said.
Yeah. Cool.
Benji.
Speaking of things we've already talked about extensively, Halo 3 is my number 4.
Baby.
I feel like all I've got to add is the only reason I put Halo 3 above, like, I don't know, Reach or something. It's just because, like, this... I don't know, it's just a bit more nostalgia in it for me, and I think the story in Halo 3 is really good.
Controversial.
I can't, you know what? I want to say it's really good. I actually can't remember it that much. I just remember it being really good.
I'll second it. It's a good story.
It is.
And
The main thing I remember about Halo 3 is Legendary and Jackal fucking snipers.
That's more of a Halo 2 thing, the Jackal Snipers, but...
like, the good multiplayer is great. It's just like they kind of perfected it in Halo 3, I think. I mean, they've improved on it since, I think, I suppose, the other games, but like, I think Halo 3 was like, this is tippity top. So
Tippity top of the mountain.
See, the thing about Halo 3's multiplayer is that of all the Halo games, that's the Halo game I'm the worst at. And I'm pretty good at most Halo games. I'm merely okay at Halo 3, and it irks me like no one's business. I play it, I'm like, God damn it, why am I not better at Halo 3 compared to like the other Halo games?
Halo 3 was...
So I feel like when you say you're okay at it, you're actually still good at it.
I feel like that too.
Oh, you can be quiet.
Yeah.
I didn't say I was better. I didn't say I wasn't better. I was better. But Chris was good.
I still suck at it, but there you go. I think I'll
Sorry,
always
Ben.
suck at it. I've accepted it now.
I'm in the same boat as you, Ben. Don't worry.
You know how much therapy it took? I was crying. I was like, I can't get good at Halo. Do you know what SWAT's like?
Get
Miserable.
good. It's beautiful.
Anyway, yeah, Halo 3, great game.
Yeah, I feel like we'll probably mention this again when it might come up later.
What are you on about?
I don't know. But I feel like the games in that certain spot will probably get a longer mention. Whatever spot could I be talking about? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, well.
Let's move on.
Speaking of Halo
To the
games,
top 3.
Oh, for God's sake!
My number 3 is Halo Reach.
Hey.
Hey.
I don't know if we like Halo on this podcast.
Gee, it's almost like it's the game that we played for the most time when we were in secondary school.
I think it has massive nostalgia for all of us because like it's the first game I played online with you lot, so it like was the beginning of everything for me. I say everything.
Beginning of many beautiful friendships.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of
Everything. Well, like games is such a big deal in my life, and I think Halo is a big part of why it's a big deal. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
First game I ever played.
All right.
Halo Reach. I just like all the points above, but like it really cannot be stated enough why it's on this list is because of Xbox Live and the time it hit.
Yeah.
I think the other Halo games are better, in my opinion, but this game hit at such the right moment for me as like a 14 to 16-year-old boy that it's one of my most played games of all time as a result, and that's why it's here.
Right.
Beautiful.
Fair enough. On to my number 3 then, which Krishna, you and I can gush about now for a short period of time before we get told off. Persona 5 takes my third spot. A fantastic PS4 exclusive, which I want to give a summary of, but Chris, can you help me out here? Because you've at least played 2 Persona games, and Persona 5 is like anime the game, so help.
You are... You're a Japanese schoolboy who spends his evenings fighting demons in an alternate reality. And that is as clicked down as I can make it, because this is 160 hours worth of RPG. 160
It is a long game.
Of amazing RPG. I'd be further than that. Some people will say too long. It falls into the Witcher 3 category for me. I'm like, I guess I just love really long RPGs. But like, both these games like 160 hours worth of experience, and I love both of them.
Like my first run through of Persona 5 was 110 hours, and then it has a new game plus as well, so that was another 110 hours.
And to elaborate on how much of a Persona fan I am, I platinumed this game, which required getting every goddamn Persona, which there's like more of them than there are Pokemon. I had to play I think it was like 2 or 3 different playthroughs of this game, each of them numbering like 120 plus hours of playtime. I then had to go back to my old save files so I could do some of the minigames. I was deep in. I was deep in this game.
Don't forget, Chris. Soon this year as well, Persona 5 Royal.
Don't worry, I've got that on pre-order. That'll get to me on March the 31st. Thank you very much.
adds another character to the game, and is also going to add, I believe, events and missions after the end of Persona 5.
I imagine during as well. Persona 4. I imagine it's a lot like Persona 4 Golden in that it'll add like new story beats and whatnot. That there's a certain part of Persona 5 where it like skips a load of time. I imagine they'll insert story into that part. That's what they did in Persona 4 anyway.
And I certainly look forward to that. But yes, is it a JRPG? Can I call it that, or is that definitely the wrong category?
Most JRPG that you can
Okay,
get.
just check it. But no, yeah,
it's JRPG, the JRPG.
A fantastic JRPG. It was my first Persona game, and I fucking love it to pieces. So, Benjamin, I do believe you might possibly enjoy it. Not sure.
Yes.
Don't fall to the dark side, man.
Do it.
Don't.
Join us in the JRPG.
Do it.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts is a Japanese RPG.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie.
This one has a coherent story.
Yeah, you'd be able to understand this.
Oh my god, it
Shade.
would be beautiful. Imagining a coherent storyline that makes sense, and I don't have to.
I mean,
yeah, it has no relation to the other games, as I recall. Each Persona game is its own contained thing, so you could definitely just pick up Persona 5 and play it.
They're ostensibly set in the same universe. Like, there are some like background reference, like there's like a poster of a character who was in Persona 4, and I think they mention they don't mention it. Like basically, like there's background elements that link it to the other Persona games.
Right.
But it's like it's not.
But
yeah. It's more like Easter eggs being like, "Hey, if you played this game, you'll get it."
Yeah, cool. That sounds a bit more accessible. Yeah. Than
one thing I'm going to spoil my list so that when we get to my number 2, we can just be like, it's Persona 5 and move on, because I'm going to talk a lot about Persona 5, I guess, now. Is, like, it's so stylish. Like, it's music, it's art, it's presentation. It's so slick and stylish and just, like, it's a feast for the eyes, so to speak.
It certainly is. I can second this statement. Like, all the animations are beautiful. The art style itself as well is also very beautiful. As the main characters, there's a wide variety of in the cast, and they all have unique designs, which are all excellently done. The most satisfying thing in that game, though, is the what do you call them? Like I want to say the kill animation, but you know when you stun all the enemies and then you all go in for an attack, and then you have the stylized finished for whoever does it.
I can't remember what that's called now off the top of my head, but yeah, that's really cool.
But no, yeah, definitely, this is a fucking beautiful game to look at.
And if you like it, it's an everlasting gobstopper, basically. Like, for normal people, this game it's almost on like the pinnacle of inaccessibility because it's so long.
But also, the character's great. because one of the major things we haven't mentioned is the character interactions as well.
The
Because
story is amazing.
getting to know the characters that you're playing alongside is one of the major gameplay elements of the game as well, and there are reasons to do it. But yeah, story is also a lot of fun, as Krishna mentioned. Is there anything else we could say about this before we gush too much?
I feel like we should move on because I think Joe might lose his mind. But
Hey,
great
keep
game.
going. I don't mind. I just have.
It's alright,
I have nothing to say about Jay.
I was having a break with my voice. I was just letting them just do it.
Yeah.
One day we'll convert Joe to the Japanese side.
Yeah,
I doubt that.
I doubt that very much as well. But
We could try.
we can try.
Make a weeb out of you yet.
Please don't say that again.
No, I don't really. Without getting so very deep into it, there's not much more I can say about Persona 5 other than it truly, between number 2 and number 1 on my list, they flip-flop a lot on what I think my favourite game is of all time.
I won't say too much more either, because I'd say that, well, the game's not new anymore, but it's still new enough where I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played it, so no, yeah, so go check it out.
I might have to.
If being on the fact that I like games, should I pick it up?
You know what? No.
If you
If you
love
like
games,
JRPGs, however,
maybe not
Yeah.
this one.
It's way more specialized than that. If you have to like Japan, and you have
Oh my god.
that's one thing. I feel like I've been to Tokyo, even though I've never been to Tokyo. This game just feels very authentic in that way.
What's it actually on? Like platforms? PlayStation.
PS4.
PS4.
It's all right. Okay. Well, I have a PS4 now. Oh god.
it's PS4 exclusive, and if you know anything about those, they're quite good.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. Well,
I would highly recommend it, especially considering it'll be a lot cheaper now, I imagine. It's been out for, 3 years?
Well, I'd say if you're going to get Persona 5 Royal, which comes out at the end of March.
Oh,
Very true.
That is the definitive version of it. But
shall I get Persona 5 Dancing in the Starlight? That sounds wonderful. That does.
apparently the Persona dancing games, good games. I
Wait.
will never play them because I'm terrible at rhythm games.
Wait, it's actually dancing.
Yes,
Oh my god.
they're like rhythm dancing games.
Japan.
I was going to say, this shouldn't have surprised you. It's Japan. They actually quite like their dancing games.
Wonderful. Well, I will, based off your recommendation, I will put it on my list of things.
Hey!
I've got a list of PlayStation 4 games, so I'm going to put it on there, definitely.
Alright, well then, swiftly moving on to Joe's number 3, so we can spare his sanity and wrap up this podcast at some point today.
This will be the longest piece of Blunt Lemons content. Turns out adding
It
a
actually
fourth
is.
adding a fourth person into this elongates it.
Yeah.
I need to think about what my topics are more carefully in the future because
We can
guess all my
rethink
topics-
the formats later. It's fine for our first one back.
Yeah.
I've ruined everything.
I concur.
well, you've changed everything.
For the better,
worse.
for the worse. Who knows?
Top
We don't
5
know
lists
yet.
from now on. Top 5.
Oh, that'll be easy.
Exactly.
Right, fuck it, let's restart.
No,
My
get on with it. You're number 3.
third best game is Final Fantasy VII. I
That's a lie.
While they were talking
Joe-
about Persona 5, he actually went and played the whole game.
Joe now wants to change his entire list to just Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And Persona games.
Yeah, Final Fantasy and one Persona at the top. No, surprisingly, that was a jib. It's DAO. That's what it is. DAO.
Dragon Age Origins.
Dragon Age Origins. That's one of the best games ever made by any woman, man, or child.
I don't think children had any part of it, but sure.
Voice actors, Dion? Come on now.
Much like XCOM, I've played the first 45 minutes of Dragon Age Origins and I've never
You
played
need
it
to
again.
play that one. Dear God, it's such a good classic BioWare RPG before BioWare became shite.
Very true. Some might
Although I
say
will
the
say,
best.
Dragon Age Inquisition, surprisingly good. It was probably their last good one.
I like Inquisition. I didn't finish it, but I like it.
Debatable.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not as good. It's not as good as Origins, nowhere near, but it is surprisingly good.
Yeah, Origins was pretty much perfect. I'm gonna say, as far
That's
as
nice.
as far as a game could get. Obviously, nothing is perfect, but
And that's why there's 2 spots above it.
well, well, the one above it's a perfect, unflawed masterpiece. Dragon Age Origins- Shut your face. Origins is it's a weird one for me actually. I came off the back of Bethesda RPGs. Shut
Sorry.
your face, Ben.
that really got me. I don't know why.
Too much gamer poop for you.
Me?
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
So yes, I came off Bethesda RPGs. The only RPGs I was used to playing really, mainly, were those. Open world, to go anywhere, do anything, It just works. Then...
Stop it!
Sorry, Bethesda's such a meme now. Yes. So, I went into Dragon Age Origins, played it first time, didn't really enjoy it all that much at all. Missed half the characters, rushed through the game, thought it was pretty shit, put it down, forgot about it. And then it became my top 3, so there you go. Then I went back to it, actually played it properly, as a child of good graces. Realised, holy shit, the characters are the best characters I've ever seen. The music's just bang-tastic in every way. The graphics are potato, but that's fine.
To be fair, they aren't too bad.
They're actually alright, yeah.
Cause I can happily still play Dragon Age Origins and think the game looks okay. I'm not going to say it looks good, but it definitely it's bearable.
It actually looks pretty decent. I mean, when the hell did this game even come out?
2007, I think.
It came out in 2007 and tickle me nuts. That's good.
I think.
I hate 2007. I'm like, oh, that was only like 5 years ago, and I'm like, no.
No.
No, 13 years ago now.
13 years ago.
We're getting old.
It looks pretty good actually, especially for its day. All the DLC was pretty much, not all of it, but most of it was pretty on point. Everything about it was really, the story was excellent. It was about the world, and it's a game that I love Dragon Age Origins so much, but I really hated Dragon Age 2. Didn't even bother with Inquisition because none of them had the same soul and flair and heart that Dragon Age Origins did. They're just not the same games.
There's a classic argument here which I completely agree with, which is when I've looked up the date now as well. Dragon Age Origins was released 2009, but the Dragon Age Origins was made at the time where BioWare was still trying to keep their games kind of separate. They made Dragon Age Origins, which was fantastic, and then they released Mass Effect 2, which was also fantastic. But then afterwards.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they went, oh, Mass Effect 2 was a big hit. Let's make Dragon Age more like that.
That's really interesting, because Inquisition, to me, I was playing Inquisition, I was like, this is like Mass Effect 3, but in a castle.
See?
That is really interesting.
That is what they did, which is why a lot of people hated Dragon Age 2 for that reason, and for many other reasons, but that was one of the key reasons. Because Dragon Age Origins is very different from the Mass Effect games.
They're such different games in literally every single way. The dialogue,
apart from being in the genre of RPG.
Yeah, but then everything about it, the combat's completely different. It's more strategic. The dialogue's completely different. The characters, everything is completely different in Dragon Age Origins. And I like Mass Effect, but Mass Effect fucking killed Dragon Age on the spot. EA were like, I want some of that space money. So they turned what could have been an incredible franchise into just a shitty, half-assed Mass Effect clone. But that's why none of the following games got on anywhere close to this list. But Dragon Age Origins is a completely different beast. One I still play, and I never get bored of it. And just the story alone, and the characters, and the relationships, and it's next level, hands down.
I will also say, a surprisingly difficult game.
Very difficult, very challenging.
There are sections of that game where I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah,
let me pass.
Definitely spikes in areas. It's just really good. It's so different to any other game that comes out now. Really, it's a game of a pre sort of RPG era, but it's
Yeah, I'd say if you're looking
special.
for a good classic medieval fantasy RPG experience, play Dragon Age Origins. Do yourself a favour, because it is a fantastic game that is still playable to this day. And I don't mean it's still available. I mean you could still play it and not be like, "Ooh, that's old," like with KOTOR, for example.
I think Dragon Age is kind of timeless in that way. Actually, it's not got anything that looks at it and it ages horrifically, like flashy things that. Like you look at CGI now. If you use like The Hobbit, for example. That ages, terribly. All the other problems aside, the CGI ages terribly. But then Lord of the Rings, it doesn't, because the stuff in it isn't flashy and ridiculous. It's timeless, and that's kind of a way to do Dragon Age. The combat's different. You need to get used to it. It's like click, and it's KOTOR combat essentially. But I kind of prefer it because you get to strategize more and combine different powers of teammates.
There's a lot of like pausing and being like, right, how do I do this?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of focus on your character, but at the same time, it's about the world. And then you pick your teammates and their skills, and they will. If you've got like a thief with you, they'll be able to unlock stuff, and then it's about the whole party and the world, and it's very special in that regard because everything else isn't kind of like that. And it was a end to end. That's why I don't like Inquisition as well, for bringing other characters back and stuff. And I don't know, Dragon Age Origins was the perfect package, pretty much, and that's why it's 3.
No, I can agree with this because I'll actually no. I'll say it now. I'll quickly spoil my list as well. Dragon Age Origins is my number 2 game for all the reasons listed here because fucking hell, it's great.
Yeah, and Liliana's a babe. What?
Didn't you miss her on your first run through?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because she was in the tavern in Lord of the Rings.
And you never went in.
I never went in because I was a dummy. I missed Sten as well. But yeah, when I went back, I got Liliana and realised why the game was so dope.
Yeah, again, this is one of those classic BioWare RPG experiences as well, where it's like, with Mass Effect 2, how it could end in many different ways. Dragon Age Origins, you could play the whole game many different ways, and just not even encounter people.
Yeah, everything is... You don't play through it once and everything's the same, and endings are all sorts of different. And
yeah, unless you play the exact same way each time you play the game, you're going to have a different experience each time.
What just happened? Did somebody die?
Hello?
The dark times.
Oh, right.
Hello, Christopher.
Did Dion disconnect or something?
No.
Oh.
Something happened.
I think
Wait,
a
so you cut out and then you just weren't talking. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
what?
I think a truck.
Okay.
A truck.
I thought I'd broken something then.
Sounds like a microwave.
That's a sign to move on. The only thing I'd say about Dragon Age that annoys me is the lack of armor variant. But that's a minor thing. But yeah, I'd recommend this game to anyone and everyone who likes games. Sorry, I have to do it.
But I hate games.
Well,
I like this
and
one.
what's you doing here?
A very good question. But yes, Ben, you're number 3?
My number 3. Yes, you were talking about babes. My number 3. Geralt
No
of
spoilers.
Rivia. Geralt
Oh.
of Rivia. Exactly. You thought I was.
Geralt's the babe.
I flipped the genre on its head. You thought I was going to say yen or something.
I did.
The Witcher 3 is just, it's my number 3 because it's just this incredible world, and in it you're Geralt, who is a professional with a job to do, and I just love it. I love going to a village where everyone's dying to some horrible monster. There's just children dead, their guts on a wall or something. And
I just love seeing
I just love dying children.
I'm starting to worry about Ben. The first it was Assassin's Creed being like, I just like stabbing people, and now...
Clearly I have unresolved issues. Anyway, you get to this village, and you accept the contract, and you like haggle over it, and you're like, I'm going to get paid this much, because I'm Geralt of Rivia, and you're going to give me 700. Thank you very much. And then you go into the woods, and Geralt's like, oh, the wind's howling. And you're like, yes, it is. He says that a lot. And you go into the woods, and you find out
he
does.
You said that, and I was like, yeah, no, he does say that a lot.
And turns out it's like the cursed ghost wife of someone who was having an affair with a king from somewhere. Anyway, and then you get all your oils, and you brew all your potions, and you put the oils on your sword, and you go into a cave, and you die nearly 17 times, but it's amazing, and then you win, and you cut off his head, and you ride back, and you get your money, and it's fucking amazing. Anyway.
Yeah, what you touched on there is maybe one of the reasons. You know what? Fuck it. I'm spoiling my list. The Witcher 3 is my favorite game. We'll get to that later. You touch what I like a lot about The Witcher 3 is having a character to play. I don't like going into an RPG and having to create my own character and think of. I like the idea like I'm playing Geralt of Rivia and this is how he would do a thing. I'm really like trying to inhabit his world and his world like point of view. I'll go into conversation like I wouldn't say this, but this is more of a Geralt thing to say than about this scenario sort of thing.
I just think, and like the combat is with the sword and the signs. It's just brilliant.
What I'll say about the combat, I recently read all the Witch books, and like this is like a huge compliment to CD Projekt Red. They really captured the way Geralt fights in The Witcher 3. I can't really talk about The Witcher 2, but in The Witcher 3, they really captured the way he thinks about a fight, and the way I think about a fight in The Witcher 3. It reminds me of in like the books where I'm like that's how he fights, you know.
And like the world and the lore is like almost like Lord of the Rings good with like and like in the encyclopedia you've got like the monsters with like what it's weak to, what it's like resistant to, and just like you've got to like plan it out beforehand, and if you don't you're probably fucked until like later on in the game when you get like really high level and you're really good at it. But like
I'll say I haven't noticed that so far.
Really? I found it really hard at first.
At first, maybe, but I feel like I can go into most fights. Obviously, it's a lot easier if you prepare for it, and I always have potions and stuff, but I tend to have a couple of potions that boost vitality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine if I just dodge stuff correctly.
Yeah.
I feel it's not nearly as hard as... Well, it's not as hard as The Witcher 2.
Yeah. That's probably why...
The Witcher 2 is almost prohibitively hard.
I like The Witcher 2, but I don't like it as much as this one because I think it's just a bit too hard for me. But that's
I like the difficulty.
Because I'm a noob.
You're a goddamn scrub. But yeah, it's still hurt. Like Hannah's true that you have to prepare for the fights and stuff, and it is really. You don't do that in any other games, really. You don't treat the big boss battles like, well, the monster fights as big boss battles as irregularly.
Yeah.
And also, what you like. You touched on the side quests, which is like really like this, like the Witcher contracts and the side quests in The Witcher 3. Going like doing the whole like Witcher investigate. You go and like, oh yeah, you'll pay me this much, and then you have to like, it's the process of Geralt figuring out what the monster is, and then you go out into the woods. Oh, there's a splatter of blood, and I smell like the scent of like propane over here or something. I don't know why propane is what leapt to my mind. And then he's like, well, it's probably an Ekamara or something like that. I'm like, Geralt, I enjoy this process.
And because I loved it too. Because like you do these contracts, and the more you do them, like monsters like come up again sometimes, and then you actually you are like working them out as Geralt is working it out, kind of. Like I was getting to a point where it was like, oh, that's clearly a lesson or something like that from like I don't know twigs or something. And
yeah, I like the fact you can, there's some monsters' weaknesses just off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Because you're an experienced monster slayer. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I just love being, like, he's like a professional doing his job, and that's the best thing about the game for me. I mean, the rest of the game is amazing, but that's my favourite thing about it. And that's why it's number 3. So.
And he goes, fuck, a lot.
He doesn't say that in the...
He doesn't say it in the games as much, does he? He just goes,
In the show, he's like, fuck, all the time.
In the games, he just goes a lot of,
Wind's howling.
One day I'll play the third game and watch the Netflix show.
Also,
one day.
Exceptional.
It was the first game I played where his I know Red Dead does this as well, where his like beard grows, and I just love that. It's such a minor detail, but like I love having to be able to shave. And
I love it in The Witcher 3. I really did not like it in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Did you? Yeah, I loved it in both the games, to be fair.
I love them both.
Red Dead 2 gets an honourable mention, by the way. Off the top of my head, now you mentioned it.
Yeah, honourable. Yeah, same for me.
The only reason it isn't above Red Dead is because of the multiplayer. For me. But this is not that.
I feel I should end what I was talking about by saying that I don't like dead children. I should say that.
The boat settled on that one, I'm afraid.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah. You like stabbing people. You like stabbing people, and you like dead children.
But everybody loves stabbing people in games.
There we go. That's better.
Not ideal, but better.
Right, should we move on to top twos? We're almost there, gentlemen.
Good.
Well, I've already talked about my top 2 in quite some detail. My number 2 is Persona 5.
Hey.
I will not say much more about it, other than Futaba is best girl. Even though I went with Makoto.
I was going to say, I don't know yet.
I know that. I don't.
I went with the chess girl / what was her name? I can't remember the
Rebecca.
other one now. Haru, that was it.
Yes.
But anyway. Okay then. Well, yeah, we did discuss over Persona 5 a lot, and we'll swiftly move on from my number 2, because we discussed over Dragon Age Origins a lot.
We did.
But yeah, no. Fantastic fantasy medieval RPG. I will say one additional note as well. Because I'm the opposite of Chris, where he mentioned how he likes playing a set character. I very much like playing my own character, which Dragon Age Origins allows you to do very, very fucking well. You get to choose your it's like any RPG. You get to choose your race and all that. But my favorite part of it was the background system.
Oh yeah, the origin stories. Oh,
because depending on your race, it takes the lore to account. It's like, okay, well, you're this race, so you can only have these stats because certain races have far less privilege than others. As per usual, humans are cunts. Elves generally poor and at the short end of the stick when it comes to racism and being purged and stuff like that.
How very witchery of that universe.
It is a bit witchery.
It's most universes. Humans are cunts.
And elves are the downtrodden.
it is actually quite witchery because also the elves have this rich history where there used to be these glorious bad men.
And then humans turned up and fucked them up.
Pretty much.
That's a common theme in like Elder Scrolls as well. I feel like it's the same.
Yeah, there's different elves there.
Well, in Elder Scrolls, it's kind of almost reverse. Isn't it like the Empire was like the big boys on the block, and then by the time of Skyrim, the elves have fucked them up?
There's
That's a good point.
Peaks and troughs.
Basically, humans are bad.
Yeah, but no, going back to the original points, the key thing to it's a character creation thing is the background thing, because like I said, the race has influence on which one you can choose, but also depending on which one you choose, you can start the game, I think, in at least 4 or 5 different ways.
Yeah,
like
you get like the human noble, Dalish elf,
Circle Mage,
the kind of the city elf, the 2 dwarves. So there's a couple on each race, and then so there's at least like 6 or 7 or something like that.
I wish they did a tiny bit more with it because, well, to be fair, I haven't done that many intros, so I don't know if it comes back around a lot. But actually, no, I can't really comment on this. Joe, you might know more about it if you've done different starting scenarios. Do they incorporate that into the story at all? Because I know if you start with the Circle Mage, like one of your friends from that intro definitely comes back in a big way in the story.
Yeah. It's not like game changing stuff, but for sure, yeah. I mean, as a Dalish elf, obviously, well, each different starting.
Because as a human noble start, I can safely say it doesn't really affect the game much. You kind of do it, and then it's over, and it's kind of like, oh, I wish I would come back. Because it's a kind of it's a kind of awesome start. It's kind of like on a Game of Thrones level as well.
I was gonna say it's got some stuff to do with like the elves and the riots, doesn't it? But no, obviously you go to the dwarves and the elves and then the humans. So when you go to the elves, there's a thing about your parents, and you see people and all this stuff, and you know people. And at the end, you can ask for like the elves to have land and stuff like this, and it's the same with the dwarves in a sense. There's things in there, little cues and whatnot. And there's actually quite a big thing with the elves, because the starting thing, your friend gets, something mysteriously happens to him with like the dark magic, and then it kind of comes back in a way in about midway in the game, so it's pretty cool.
But no, yeah, I wish modern RPGs would take that mechanic into account a bit more, because it's another really unique and awesome mechanic of just not necessarily the backgrounds themselves, but the backgrounds actually having an effect on how you start the game, and having like 5 different starting scenarios with completely different casts of characters, and it's not just like a different cast of characters and that's it. It's different like starting quests and stuff as well. It's really good.
I find it insanely cool. I'm really surprised that it hasn't come up since. But again, it's a different sort of RPG.
If you ever make a games company,
honestly, I made like small little choice games just when I was practicing programming that, and I had to make some version of that. I did. It was very shit, but it's a major thing that I'm really surprised hasn't become more prominent. But different style of game, which is a shame. But there you go.
But yeah, okay, that's my number 2. Sorry, we went on that a bit longer than we should since we've already talked about it. So, Joe, you're next. You're number 2.
As I said before, a flawless masterpiece.
Boo.
I've never seen
It just works.
a more graphically impressive game in my life. Yes, it's Tez Elder Scrolls Oblivionos. Yeah, Oblivion was.
Sorry. God damn it,
See,
sorry, I'll let you
shit-
talk.
I'm shitting on it, but it's my number 2 game of all time. Because it is special in every way. I was too young, because I played Morrowind before it. I was probably too young to fully appreciate it. Skyrim is incredible. It's both incredible and annoying in places, Skyrim. But Oblivion was the one that got me into RPGs properly. It sunk far too much of my time. I bought that damned horse armor over and over again as a small wee lad. Best DLC going in Chivernals. It's something else, especially for then. It was nuts good. The writing was Skyrim was good. I would compare it to Skyrim. Skyrim was good. The writing wasn't great. And a lot of the quests that unfolded, not so much the quests, but the guilds and the stuff like that, it would unfold in a very kind of, okay, cool way. But in Oblivion, there was this extra ridiculous flair to it. Like, the Brotherhood was just over the top evil and, like, nuts. And the same with all these random quests, like you get put into a painting and you go into a town full of invisible people who have been cursed by him. Just stuff like that. The writing was just on another level compared to Skyrim. The world was pretty damn awesome, incredible. You could lose yourself in it. I don't want to know how many hours in that game. This was back in ye old days of Xbox. If you look on Steam, it's 9 minutes, which isn't true, because I played it on Xbox, and it's probably, I don't know, it's far too much of my life. It's just exceptional. You can be who you want, do whatever you want. Mods as well. Mods are a huge
Yeah.
As with any Bethesda
I have
game.
put maybe 3 hours into Oblivion, and I escaped from prison. And I was like, okay, what's the next quest? It was like, okay, it's across there. So I walked into the wilderness, where a Khajiit bandit popped out of nowhere. I was like, hey, you, give me your shit.
Fuck
And I was
that
like,
guy.
no. And then he killed me. And then I played the game again, and I became racist towards Khajiits afterwards. So that was my Oblivion experience.
To be fair, Khajiits are bootlickers.
My first playthrough of Skyrim was a Khajiit, and I got a lot of shit for that.
Rightly so.
I was a damned
it's
thief.
Blues
So.
game I should go back and play. Yeah, fair. There'd be a lot of sort of quirks and issues with it, but I can't knock it for the amount of time and just.
I feel like it was a very much like place and time sort of thing. I'm not sure you could go back from now and play Oblivion and have a good time with it, but like if you were in it at the time, it was, the bee's knees.
It would be quite clunky now and quite humorous in places. And there's definitely a lot of dated stuff in it. I feel like I could definitely go back and have a pretty banging time with it, though.
I should play it again.
Sky Oblivion. Honestly, I'd wait for Sky Oblivion. It's coming soonish, hopefully. It looks
Oh really?
pretty damn
Oh
good.
shit! Yeah, that would knock my socks off.
Just look at it. There's live streams on YouTube. Just get it up, and
Oh sweet.
it looks pretty incredible. So I'd wait for that. Takes the clunkiness out of it.
Because that's my main problem with Oblivion. It's just a little bit too old school.
It's a bit old.
Yeah, but I mean it's still great. If it looked like and I've not played like Skyrim because even Skyrim doesn't play perfectly, but then I
Yeah.
think it might be better than Skyrim. But because Skyrim,
Yeah, I think the
looks and plays-
content is better than Skyrim.
yeah,
It's dated now and clunky, and it's a Bethesda thing, so it's probably not age magnificently well. But I love this game far too much. Anyone, you could be anyone and all that nonsense, and yep, that's why it's the second best game of all time.
shout out to Gamer Poop. Best things I've ever watched in my life. Still.
I would second that. But yeah, there you go. What's yours,
moving on
Benjamin?
to the next one.
Cool.
Number two.
Yes. My number 2 is the Batman Arkham Asylum. It's like really difficult for me to choose one out of the franchise. Like we've already talked about it a lot, but Arkham Asylum. It's just this for me. It's this perfectly formed little bit of Batman perfection in a game. Like it's Batman trapped. The idea of Batman trapped in anywhere with like all his enemies around him, everyone's trying to kill him, is just a great idea for a game.
For you.
You what?
What? Carry on.
Completely forgot what I was saying.
Damn it, man.
What Arkham Asylum has going for it over the other Arkham games is it's absolutely oozing and dripping in atmosphere. Like the Asylum as like as a location is so much better than the other locations in terms of atmosphere.
Absolutely. And like it's just got this grimy, slimy, like gothic setting. Like you go into some places and they've got like these horrible like medical implements, and like there's blood on the walls, and like there's like tiles and it's all cracked. But then
no dead children though. So it's
oh, for God's sake!
I was going to say, Ben, you're really not helping yourself.
But it just looks cool. Oh, God, I'm a monster.
It's okay. Come on, guys. We're nearly there. We're at the 2.5 hour mark. We could get there. Come on.
What was I saying? Like, obviously, technically, the other Batman games are better technically, but this one was like just straight out the gate perfect for me. Like they improved on it so much after that with so many different things, especially in like the Predator bits are a little bit crappy now because they're a bit like all you can really do is do the inverted takedown, or you can like just sneak up behind him in a really slow way. But although actually his crouch is as fast as a man's run, which is very impressive. I don't know how he does that.
Them calves.
It's because he's Batman. And
he does not skip leg day.
I mean, he doesn't skip any day. Like, that is the most jacked man ever.
He's got Strange.
And Hugo Strange is actually pretty jacked.
I mean, he's pretty jacked, to be fair.
Well, it's a game made in Unreal 3. Everybody was jacked back then.
Is jacked. Although
any game that's made that engine, everybody is jacked.
The Titan people are pretty jacked. Bane is pretty jacked. That's a jacked man.
Just a tad. Just a tad.
Oh, and also another thing actually before, because I'm sure I don't know. We're not going to talk about it anymore. It's no one else's thing. Like as you go through the game, like I loved how his like outfit got more and more damaged. Like it showed like he was going through hell, and and each bit of damage that he got, you could trace it back to like, oh, that's when Harley Quinn like dropped the elevator on him, or like the rip in his cape is like from, oh, that's when Bane like threw him through a wall. And I really loved that at the time. And because I love Batman and I love those characters, and each character is done so well. Like, it's basically the animated series in a game, which
on steroids.
Exactly, which is great. And like, because like Mark Hamill, like Joker he's Joker in Mark Hamill Joker. It's like the best. It's like the best thing ever. And all the other character designs are great. I will say Arkham Asylum doesn't have enough of his characters in it. Like, there's no Penguin or Two-Face or Catwoman or anything like that. But they're all, like, hinted at. And I love doing all the riddles when you like, scan something and you go to, like, Harvey Dent's cell and, like, half of it's lovely and the other half is, like, messed up. Or you find, like, Penguin's umbrella in a case. And just little things like that. And, like, yeah.
I feel like the amount of villains in Asylum suited Asylum perfectly.
Yeah, it's
I feel like Asylum would have been a bit too bloated if they put more in. I feel like that.
It's fair enough. It is fair.
City.
The story it is about Batman and the Joker, basically, which is what it should be. Yeah. So, yeah.
I found it terribly boring.
God damn you.
I gave it a shot.
Oh,
But
you
it was utterly detestable.
son of a bitch.
I can't tell if he's joking or
No,
if
no,
he's serious.
No, he's
Okay.
deadly serious.
Okay.
I tried it because of all the hype around the sequels, and I was like, you know what, fine. I think Batman's a bit of a tool, but I'll give it a go.
I mean, I feel that's your problem there.
Yeah.
If you don't like Batman, you're not going to like the Arkham
Yeah.
games.
It's true,
That's the point of the nail there.
Potential could have been that the game was really good and it turned me on to Batman like it's clearly turning Ben on. But
It does.
yes, but I just found it slow and clunky, to be honest. But yes, obviously, if you like Batman, go.
You should play Arkham Knight. That's not slow. You drive around in a giant tank.
Well, it's a bit slow when the tank turns into
A tank.
a tank, I guess. When it's a car, it's fun. When it's not a car, it's not fun.
I tell you what, like I can't. When I go back and play in City and doing like the gliding thing, like going to Arkham Knight and he's like basically flying in that game. It's completely different. It's mad.
Anyway, as we're doing this, I'm having another show idea crystallise in my head. So let's say that's a topic for another time.
Yeah.
And move on to our number one.
Yes,
now.
sorry.
We can finally wrap this up.
My number one game is The Witcher 3. We've talked about it at length. But what I will say that we've not mentioned before is as I've now read the books, well, I loved the story to begin with. I love the hunt for Ciri and like the quests and the characters you meet along the way and the twists and turns, etc. Now that I've read the books and understand the connection between those characters even more, it's like elevated it to like another tier above God level for me, and I just adore this game like so much.
It's just a shame the author's a bit of a tool.
I'm actually reading the books right now. And they're really good. They're great.
I recently finished. Well, technically, there's another one to go, but that's like a prequel. But I finished the like latest one in the chronology of the books, so I'm pretty much up to date with where the original Witcher begins.
We should talk about The Witcher more sometime, like the TV show as well, because I like to talk about that sometime.
What started? I watched the first episode of the Netflix show, and it made me play all of The Witcher 3 again, read literally 8 books worth of content, and I'm like, maybe I'll play The Witcher 2 as well. Fuck it, I don't know. I'll just keep playing Witcher stuff forever.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It's next level.
But I never went back to the show.
You haven't finished the show?
No, I only watched the first episode, and then I read every book and played like 200 hours worth of RPG.
It took me ages to finish the show. I don't love it. I've got problems. I like it, but I don't think it's great.
Hey, that's a topic for another time.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, I'd love to talk about that another time.
Dion, you're number one. I mean,
My number one, we've already talked about it at length again, is Mass Effect 2. A fantastic BioWare sci-fi RPG, and it was my introduction to the Mass Effect franchise. There's not too much I can say on it. Like I said, the thing I love the most about it is just how many different ways the game itself can end. No, I don't think this is also. I started playing this at a time where free demos were still a common thing. So that's how I was introduced to the Mass Effect franchise, the Mass Effect 2 demo.
Time have passed to
that. But no, yeah. Glorious game. You could jump on in Mass Effect 2 and still get it as well. You don't have to play Mass Effect 1, although I would also recommend Mass Effect 1. I'll give that a shout out. Not an honorable mention. I wouldn't put it in my top games, but I'd give that a shout out as well. It does help contextualize a lot of the just random choices it gives you at the beginning of Mass Effect 2 if you don't play Mass Effect 1.
its shooting is so bad though.
Oh, it's a clunky game. Mass Effect 1 is a clunky game. So not in the visuals, but the controls department, because its control scheme was very different from Mass Effect 2 and 3's.
In Mass Effect 2, you can hit people with your guns. In Mass Effect 1,
In Mass Effect 1, you have to train to use your guns. You actually have to put stats into it, as opposed to Mass Effect 2, where you can use anything.
Argument for another time. I'm fairly sure I was a soldier in Mass Effect 1, and I still felt like I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. But, but that's a different argument.
But no, yeah. Mass Effect 2, glorious BioWare RPG. That's all I have to say about it, because we've gushed over it enough.
Joe.
Yes, Christopher.
What's your favourite game of all time, and why is it My Little Pony, Horseland Adventures?
Because the graphics are fantastic, the hair physics are beautiful, and you can do unspeakable things. There you go. Ben, what's yours?
Ben.
No,
Well, my
mine
favourite
is-
game is Mount Your Friends. No.
Effect, to be fair. Yeah, that's all. Right, good night, everybody.
Joe, get back here.
Okay. Mine's the game with the chef in it. The Master Chef. Oh,
Cooking Mama?
oh boy, he's got it. Halo 3. Yes, Halo 3. The best game of the last 2 months, one might say. Yeah, we've talked about Halo, but we've never specifically talked about the big dog. You're right in that Halo Reach was the peak in our time for multiplayer and social graces and all that. But for me, I guess Halo was the first. Halo Combat Evolved was the first proper game I played, and ever since then, whenever it came out in 2000, oh my god, it killed me. And whenever I picked it up first, I haven't looked back. I've been pretty hooked on Halo until Halo 4. And then I kind of stopped playing on Xbox that much. And then, so I kept playing all the way through to Halo 3, and I smashed the unholy hell out of the multiplayer, pretty much. It was probably my most played game, definitely most played multiplayer game, and was unreasonably addicted.
I think it was the first ever multiplayer game I played actually online against other people. I'd never connected my Xbox to the internet before.
Yeah.
I played against people.
Mine was ODST. So, yeah. Still
Mine
Halo
was
3.
Modern Warfare 2.
Fair. All solid shots, to be fair. I think
I remember playing that first match, and I was freaking out. My heart rate I was like, "What am I doing?" And I suck. And then the rest was history.
And you still suck.
I still suck at Halo.
Oh.
But,
You can shut the fuck up, you.
Yeah, to be
I
fair.
don't know. When it comes to PC, you guys will see I'm not that good at Halo 3. The other Halo games, I'll state my claim, and I'm actually pretty good to very good at most Halo games. Like Halo 3, I'm merely okay at best.
I'll go and say I was pretty fucking alright at Halo 3, like, I'm not gonna lie. And all the other Halo games up until PC times.
You're selling yourself short. You're really good at Halo.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know how much more I can tell myself other than pretty fucking damn good. My first memory of the whole multiplayer was that I went to my friends and I saw them on Valhalla, and there was people in warthogs driving past, shooting everyone down, and I was like, this is what can only be described as visual mastery, and a goddamn magical fuckfest, and it was beautiful. And ever since then, hooked complete. I loved the way you unlocked armor. It was so rewarding and different and challenging. The story was class. It was a great, good sort of finish. Everything about it was pretty perfect. Forge, what you were saying, it harkens back to the Reach thing. That was the start of Forge, and you had to be super creative. And there's tons of people playing as well. That's the thing now. Back then, Halo was the game. And there was tons of different game modes and creativity, and the fun never stopped, kids. It was the ultimate multiplayer game for me.
Halo 3 came out like that back then. It was like the argument, is it Call of Duty or is it Halo? Is that the best shooter? And Halo long ago faded from that conversation, and Call of Duty nowadays has even gone from that. And it's like, which is better? I really like my Overwatch, but Fortnite is truly the greatest. I'm like, back in my day, it used to be about the aliens and the army men. Okay,
The aliens and the Covenant.
Listen here, you little shit. That would be what I would say. I'm just glad I grew up during the Halo era, because the memories, even like System Link and local playing on everything to do with Halo, I have like the best gaming memories for, even if it was with you guys or my neighbours at the time and my brother. And...
I really wish I had friends when I was a child who played who played System Link stuff like that, because that's an experience I never had. You know, like lugging like an OG Xbox around a house, everyone getting like the CRT TVs out and sitting around eating Doritos and playing Halo. I wish I had that experience, but I don't.
Well, that's the thing. We were just probably too young for it, realistically. Like when you see the things of it, it was people like, you know, at uni or college. If you were at uni during those days, oh my lord. But I got lucky that my neighbour, we'd grown up together, and we just kind of literally lugged it around their house, and we set it up in 2 different rooms. And that's, again, probably why I was a lot better at going into Halo than you guys. at the start because like I'd been playing it for 8-10 years before then or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had a bit of a leg up there.
I've just never been good at shooters. I was okay at Call of Duty at best, and then I jumped onto Halo. I was like, this is fun. And then I played with you guys. I was like, you guys are way too good.
Yeah. Some of us were pretty, all right. But yeah, that's why Halo's there. It encompasses the whole sort of Bungie franchise for me. Even like not to sell 343 short. Just those were the kind of golden days.
I feel like there's a whole podcast topic to be mined out of 343 and Halo, and how I think they get like a really unfair rap because they made great games. It's just Halo's not the franchise it used to be, and probably never will be.
Sign of the times as well. But yeah, you're right. There's a whole topic on that. But a mixture of the right time for everything, golden days, the best multiplayer, good story. Everyone was there. Yeah, it's the epitome for me. Of multiplayer.
Were there any
games.
dead children in it?
Oh, for God's sake!
So many teabags.
Just
No
set the
children.
wrong impression.
How about games that there are actually kind of dead children in this game? Can you? I was going to segue to
There's
Ben.
no
but-
children into it. There's no. Oh, what?
There are.
No, you can't kill any
You
kids
can't.
in this one. Unless
I bet
a
you got
mod.
the mod, didn't you?
I actually didn't ever get the mod.
Bullshit.
I thought you said I actually did.
It was the first mod I got. Are we?
What was this for Skyrim?
Are we actually on me now? Are we
We
done?
are all
Yes,
over you.
yes.
But-
Wrap it up, Ben. Let's have the final of the top 10.
Yeah, my number one game of all time is Skyrim. It's a really good game. If you hate games, get it.
If you hate games, get it.
Yeah, if you hate games. If you like games, just skip this one. It's just not for you.
That's fair. I've heard that. To be fair.
Yeah.
I would recommend modding the shit out of it, though, if you're getting it now for the first time, because that base game of it I don't find anywhere near as fun anymore.
No, but seriously, this game is the tits.
Au contraire, if you're getting it for the first time now, but it's on, like, get it on Switch or something. I don't know. There's something about playing stuff on the Nintendo Switch that is fun. Do it on there
This-
if you're
You
playing the
can't
base
mod it
game.
on Switch, though.
This.
Yeah, but that's where that's where the base game is at its at most palatable nowadays.
Anyway, I'm going to talk about Skyrim now for about
Never.
45 minutes.
We're talking about the Switch now, boy.
Okay, good.
Go on.
It's a fantastic console.
Skyrim. It's like this game is just perfect for me. Like the perfect level. Like it looks incredible. It mostly plays incredible. It's a bit janky.
It's a Bethesda game.
It's a Bethesda game. It's a bit janky, but like Oblivion, I really like Oblivion a lot, but it's just a little bit too clunky for me. But Skyrim, do you remember when that trailer came out? That first trailer.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
Dragonborn.
I remember talking about it with you and Harry in maths
Oh
AS level.
god. And I remember I borrowed it off you, Chris, actually, because you got it and for some reason didn't want to play it for a week. I don't know. I borrowed it for a week and I just fell in love immediately. Like when I walked out as that dark elf and I found that frost roll at the top of High Hrothgar and he killed me 20 times. I was like, this is the game for me.
There are a lot of stories of dying in RPGs a lot.
That troll though is a son of a bitch.
Fucking-
And like
I remember when I finally killed him. I was like dual fisting like the fire
Yeah.
gun. And I was
Your fist. I fisted that troll good. I got that fire and shoved it.
put my fire fist right up his ass.
I did-
I was backpedaling.
I did the
was
same thing.
backpedaling, and I was like right on the edge of a cliff, and he finally died. I was like,
I
holy shit!
swear to God, I got halfway back down that mountain with him following me, backpedaling the whole time by doing the dual fire spell, like spraying it at him. I was like, please die, please. And he constantly regenerating health. But this game, I've played through it. I can't even say how many times now, with so many different kinds of characters. Like I've been a dark elf battle mage. I've been a Nord with like a giant axe. I've been a Khajiit, sneaking around with a bow and arrow. I've been
You were describing all my playthroughs then for a second until you got Khajiit and Argonian, and I was like, my first one was a dark elf battle mage, and then I was a Nord with a giant longsword.
Oh, wow.
And then I was an Argonian sneak thief.
I've been a high elf mage. Like being a mage is actually really cool. It took
Not as good as Oblivion.
and
Sorry.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
cool,
in that
Dragon Age
perfect sweet spot for me. And I think it helps a lot with because I've modded it a lot, and the mods for that game are just. I've got so many mods, hundreds.
It's like the preeminent game for modding.
The hundreds of mods. Like I've modded it. Like I got a really good vampire mod, so I've got a vampire character who lives in a little, not a castle, like a spooky house in the swamps.
Just draining children of their blood.
No, don't drain children.
This is where Ben can be anyone he wants. I broke my game with mods. I'm pretty sure recently.
I also broke my game. Every time I went to Falkreath, the game would load and it instantly crash, but I'd auto-saved as I was loading. So every time I loaded up the game, it was just crash. Okay, I guess I'm not playing this anymore.
I just crashes at random stages now. I think
that's Skyrim in general.
No, but way. I go on it and I'll play 2 minutes and it'll just go, nope, you're alright. And that'll do. And I'm like, okay. Sorry.
I have the same experience. Sometimes it's very stable and be I'll last for a good few hours. Sometimes I'll launch it up and then 2 minutes in and be and that's it.
Yeah. Which in a game where you're trying to really roleplay and go into the mountains and you're freezing to death and you set up a campfire and a fire and you get all your guys sat around.
Frostbite.
And you're like, boom, da boom, da boom, and then the game just crashes and you cry.
I will give Skyrim an honourable mention as well. It didn't make it into my top 10, but it was my first medieval fantasy RPG, and it was fucking glorious.
I love my character so much, Ben the Dark Elf. I love him so much that I ported him over from the 360 onto the PC.
I also did that with Chris the Dark Elf.
With some black magic method. I don't know how I can't remember how it worked, but I was so attached. I'm so attached to him. Yeah.
Sounds like you and Chris were both attached to Chris and Ben.
Just gotta love those dark elves. Gotta get a bit of that dark meat.
Oh. I'm incredibly racist. The dark elves in my game, and I count them an Argonian. It's just how it is. I'll also give it an honourable mention though, alongside Dion.
I was an Argonian once. I didn't like it very much.
You son of a bitch.
Sorry.
No matter what character I play in Skyrim, all because of Oblivion, I'm just racist to Khajiit.
That's
Khajiit.
Even when he was a Khajiit.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I was an Argonian, goddammit.
No.
I've never been one of those Khajiit bastards.
If you've never been
I was a Khajiit.
But you can see in the dark. And you've got claws. It's not very...
Yeah, they're all thieves there.
They
all
are.
thieves and brigands.
And drug dealers.
And we're very good at it.
Bastards. But I've easily sunk, I reckon, over $1,000 in this game. Thinking about it. Over 360 on PC. It's so good I can complain about it, and I've put so much time into it that I can think of these stupid little things, but it's an incredible game.
I get what you mean. That's me in The Binding of Isaac. I've played so much of it that I can't help but see all of its tiny flaws.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the fact you can just be anybody and you can just live any life in Skyrim, I think that's the magic of Bethesda games, and Skyrim does it really well for the most part.
Old Bethesda games.
And
anything post.
It's like Oblivion as well. You start out as this just nobody prisoner, and then you end up as basically a god. And I love that. And
I love it, but I love the fact you can play it and not do that.
Yeah, of course.
A lot of my recent games, I can't remember the last time. I think my last 3 games, I haven't become the Dragonborn. Because I'm okay just being a bro. I'm okay just being the leader of the Thieves Guild and all this stuff. And I didn't want to be a Dragonborn. And I like the fact you have that sort of that freedom to just not do it, especially with the mods Live Another Life and stuff. So it's I spent probably about the first 20 levels of my most recent character literally being a hunter, just in the forest. Hunting and skinning and shit. And I was like, okay, I'm a boring person, but I like it.
Yeah, Skyrim, if you can stabilize it, is still a very damn good game to play, especially because the mod support for that game is insane, and it's just given that so much of an extended lifespan, because that game is 9 years old now, and it's like I said, the base game is very meh nowadays, but with mods, that game, you could do so much with it.
Vanilla Skyrim I probably struggle with nowadays. But
I remember I wanted more creatures to wander around the world, so I modded stuff in. But then I realised that it added like dinosaurs. There were triceratopses just wandering around Whiterun. I was like, "Fuck! I need to get rid of it." So I deleted the mod, and I loaded up the game, and there were still triceratopses wandering around. It had haunted my game. There was no way I could get rid of the goddamn triceratops. And then eventually I googled it. It was like you have to go to an inn, and then like sleep for 28 days in-game days straight. And then it'll like despawn everything in the world because you've not been out there in ages. And then I did it and the Triceratops has disappeared. Until I went to another city and there was just a Triceratops wandering. And I was like, fuck, there's Triceratopses, they're everywhere.
Right, and on that wonderful note, shall we wrap this up? Because we've nearly been going for 3 hours. Have fun editing this.
Yeah, enjoy.
sorry, guys.
It'll be fine.
We'll have to save the final actual top 10 list for either another podcast. Actually, yeah, we could probably save that for the next podcast.
Yeah, because that'll probably go a little long as we argue.
As we argue which one's going where on the list. Fucking hell. Nearly 3 hours.
Yeah.
Ben, you've added a whole new dynamic to the game. Holy shit.
What was that, Christopher?
I was going to say, someone outro this bitch.
Tune in next time for Pussy.
I thought you're out of it. That's fine. You do it. It's fine.
No, you're the new guy. You go for it.
You sure?
Fuck.
No, this is Ben's time to shine.
All right.
Do you want me to do it?
Thank you very much for listening. If you got like this far, then you deserve me to come over there and give you something nice.
We'll give you a head pat.
A head
Everyone
pat?
loves a good head
They
pat.
deserve more than a head pat. I'll give him 2 head pats.
Ben,
Just hide your children when he comes round. You might be liable to stab them. I don't know.
Clearly, I have deep unresolved
hide all the
issues.
stabby things.
Anyway, if you like this, like it or something. Click that bell. Does the bell do anything? I don't think the bell does anything.
It tells them when we uploaded a video. Because otherwise YouTube's a piece of shit.
Well, there you go then. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. So everyone else, say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
They
And
say
also follow
bye.
us on Twitch if you don't mind.